stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Get that turned on. There we go. Item 1.02, order and approval of the agenda. Before we go there, I'm going to go ahead and be removing item 4.03 from the agenda. There's some more information that we're going to need on that, and so we'll bring that back to the next meeting.
Move to approve the agenda with that exception.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Item 1.03, introduction of Elko County School District Student Board Member, Monica Beltran. Monica, welcome. Yeah, go ahead and press that. You'll get a green light. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Beltran. It is such a pleasure to be speaking here today. I am 17 years old, currently a junior at Elko High School. I have had the honor of serving as my class president for the past 2 years, and I have been actively involved in student council since middle school. My involvement in student council has allowed me to develop fundamental leadership and personal skills, which allowed me to make helpful contributions to my school. Beyond student council, I am actively involved in other extracurricular organizations such as HOSA, Key Club, and the National Honor Society. These experiences have not only strengthened my academic abilities, but have allowed me to reinforce my commitment to the community. I am also a member of the track and field team, where I primarily focus on distance events. Academically, I am enrolled in several advanced placement courses and have completed several honors classes in the past, maintaining a GPA of 4.5. I also balance my academic and extracurriculars with personal experience, as I have worked nearly a year at the Performance Athletic Club as a front desk receptionist. Looking ahead, my goal is to attend the University of Nevada, Reno to attain my bachelor's degree in behavioral analysis. I plan to then further my studies at the University of Kansas, ultimately earning a PhD in applied behavioral analysis, allowing me to pursue a career as a behavioral psychologist. I am fortunate for all the opportunities I have had so far, such as this one, and I am looking forward to the ways that I can grow as an individual, leader, and as a student. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, let's give Monica a bit more. Thank you, Monica. Those are some lofty goals. That's great to hear. Looking forward to your input tonight, and thank you for being here with us. We'll move on to item 1.04, recognition of the Elko County School District STEM Fair winners. Mr. Anderson?
Hello. Yep, going to welcome up to the podium Mr. James Brawley. He is one of our excellent teachers in Elko County School District over at Adobe Middle School, and he's also a committee member for the STEM Fair, so I'm going to let him take the microphone now.
All right, so hello. This year we had about 320 projects with 400 students participating between K to 12th grade. Tonight we have the two grand prize winners that are going to go over their project with you, Kobe and Saikira.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Brawley. So come on up, Sakura and Kobe, and the microphone's right over there. Make sure the green light is lit up, and tell us all about your project.
So our project was a comparative study of green roofs, roofs with reflective surfaces, and conventional asphalt roofs. Oh, next slide.
Okay, so the questions we had before this project were, to what extent do varying materials of roof surfaces influence the external surface temperatures? So that was one of our questions. And another one was, how do different roof surface materials influence the internal temperatures of a structure? Next slide.
We hypothesized that the dark asphalt roof would absorb more heat, keeping the building hot in the summer and warmer in the winter, while light covered light colored roofs would reflect sunlight, keeping the house cooler in the summer, but not help with heat retention in the winter. We also hypothesized that green roofs covered with soil and plants would be more efficient in regulating temperatures overall. Next slide.
Okay, so our procedure was we built 3 identical houses, and one of our materials we used was styrofoam, which was for the walls and the floor. And we used plywood for the structural part of the roof. And then we used different types of roofing for each roof. And the first roof was asphalt shingles. The second roof was covered with white vinyl roofing material. The third roof was layered with waterproof black plastic sheet. And next was the hardware cloth to keep the soil in place. And lastly, we added soil and living plants.
After we made all these model houses, we placed every single house outside in the sun, and we measured the roof surface temperature with an infrared thermometer, and we checked it at regular intervals. We also kept track of the indoor temperature of the model houses with the thermometer we placed inside the house. Next slide. Sorry. This is our asphalt roof. You can see we have the asphalt shingles on there.
Next slide. Oh yeah, okay. So this is our reflective roof. In this photo, you could see the plywood under the reflective vinyl roof. Yeah.
And this is our green roof. You can see that how we have the soil and the moss on top of the roof to regulate the temperature. Next slide.
So the results were asphalt absorbed more solar radiation, and it was the highest surface temperature and also the highest internal temperatures. Both the reflective and the roof with the soil and plants maintained substantially cooler temperatures, while the reflective roof achieved the lowest peak surface temperature. The green roof showed nearly equal performance with better consistency.
And this is our surface temperatures measurements over time, if you guys want to look at that. The red line is asphalt shingles, while the white line is representing the reflective roof, and the green line is the green roof. And you can barely see the yellow line, but that's the outside temperature throughout our measurements. I'll let you guys look at that.
Okay, so these are different graphs. These are comparing indoor temperature measurements to surface temperature. The dark lines are the surface temperature, the red lines are the indoor temperature, and the yellow line is outdoor temperatures. Next slide.
We concluded that our hypothesis was true. The green roof with soil and plants kept the surface temperature low when outside temperatures were high, but kept the interior temperatures higher with the reflective roof coating during temperatures higher than reflective roof during low outdoor temperatures. And we found that our findings suggest that integrating roofing temperatures, roofing surfaces with plants into design could be an important strategy for lowering citywide temperatures and for improving building energy efficiency. Next slide.
So here are references, and I was wondering if you guys have any questions about our presentation.
It was fascinating how you did that. You did it over the course of one day?
It took 4 weeks.
But the time when you were measuring was like one afternoon?
Yeah.
Was it what was the weather like that day? Was it a sunny day?
Yeah, it was kind of a sunny day. It was a difficult weather. It was kind of cloudy too some days.
Yeah.
We did it in, I think, 3 or 4 days.
Board, any questions? It's a great presentation, you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Good luck.
If I can have both of you come over here, and we'll have you come down the line and shake people's
Yeah.
hands. And we got some certificates for you as well.
All right, now we'll move on to item 1.05, recognition of Nevada State Speech and Debate Champion, Kamille Bonafide. That's for Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, so I'm going to invite up Mrs. Voth right there, and Kamille, if you want to come on up with Mrs. Voth too, that's great. And I'll just, you know her better than me, so why don't you go ahead and introduce her, and I'll let you two take it over.
Sure, thank you. Kamille is a 4-year member of the speech and debate team, and to my knowledge, she is the only person on Elko High School speech and debate that has ever been a 2-time state champion in a single event.
Wow.
So she's worked really hard, and all of that hard work has paid off, and she's qualified for the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions and the National Speech and Debate Tournament in Richmond, Virginia.
So we'd love to have, if you want to tell us what you're, what you did, and yeah, just fill us in on how that went.
Yeah, of course. So currently, I am doing the event POI. It is a fairly recent event in speech and debate. I would say it's around like 10 years old compared to the 100 years the speech and debate's been established. It's one of my favorite events, and I've been doing it for since my sophomore year. I've have quite a bit of achievements within this event, like I've qualified for nationals 4 different times. I'm also going to the Tournament of Champions, the Individual Events Tournament of Champions for the for qualifying for the 3rd time this year, for my high school career. Some other accomplishments that I've also done is, as of recently, our team went to UC Berkeley in California, and overall I got 5th place, which I was really excited about. And in general, like my speech, I've done a whole different kinds of speeches as well. Within my speech, I really do advocate for something really personal to me, and I'm really glad that it's paid off. And yeah, is there any questions at all?
I have one. She said that you have won state twice in a certain competition. What was that competition, and like explain to us what you do for that?
Yeah, so within that competition, it was the state championship, so we also went against schools in Las Vegas as well. The way it happened is within my speech, I basically just competed with my other competitors. My speech, is, like I said, is very personal to me, so it was about like the sexualization of mixed race women, as I've really experienced within my life, and I thought it was really personal, and I was able to give a speech about that, as well as that's how you also qualify to the Tournament of Champions as well by getting 3rd place or higher. So yeah, that's kind of how it went, and yeah, it's just like, it was like the second time I've been the state champion within my event, and the event that I do, to really kind of explain what it is it's a very intricate speech and how you put it together. Yeah, it's very dramatic as well. You use a ton of different sources from many forms of literature, such as poetry, scripts, books, plays, whatever you can really think of, and you put it together to really make a story out of it and to express a problem and almost advocate for it. So I feel as though it was really important. Speech and debate's always been really important to me. It feels like I can do so much and talk about so much about not only within our community, but within our role in general. And yeah, so it's really, really honored. And as well as I will be representing Nevada at nationals, at the national debate tournament as in Senate. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. So she qualified in a dramatic piece and additionally for nationals in a debate event. So she's a multi-talented.
Yeah. So yeah.
Anything else from the board?
Well done. Thank you for representing us.
Thank you for having me.
I will second that. Well done. We're very happy to hear from you, and you're doing well. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
To you. All right. Thank you very much. Same thing. We'd like to have you get around. Yeah, congrats. Best of luck coming up. Thank you. All right, now we're on to item 1.06, recognition of S.T.A.R.S recipients. Mr. Anderson.
Yep, me again. All right, so we've got 4 that we're going to recognize tonight, doing a little catch-up. We'll just go in order here of my stack. We'll ask first for Jordan Montez. Yeah, you get to come on up. You'll just get to sit in the back. Come on. So Jordan is a teacher at Elko High School. You can just right over there. It's awesome. Yeah. Is Daniela here? Oh yeah, there she is. You're hidden behind Kamille. Come on up, Daniela. Daniela, you go stand right by Ms. Montez. All right. So Daniela, I'll let her introduce herself too. Daniela submitted the nomination for her teacher, Mrs. Montez. And so, Daniela, if you want to let us know who you are, and then we'll let you read the nomination.
Hi, my name is Daniela Luna, and I am the senior class president at Elko High School. And it was my great pride and gratitude that I nominated Mrs. Montez for this award. Mrs. Montez has been my student council teacher for the past 4 years. And now as a senior, I can say that she has not only shaped my high school experience, but has also been the person and the leader that I have become. She is the kind of advisor who presents for her students in every way. She's very supportive, uplifting, and dedicated under no circumstance. Ms. Montez embodies the skill and the dedication of being a student council leader. During every major event, from the intensity of homecoming week to float building to spirit assemblies and even statewide conferences such as NASB, she is there alongside with us. Even when she's not feeling her best, she always shows up with the same energy and commitment to ensure her students have everything that they need to succeed. One of the most admirable things about her is the way that she never hesitates to give us her time and her energy. Whether that means staying late into the evening, traveling with us across the state, or spending countless hours behind the scenes making sure that everything runs smoothly on and off campus, she consistently goes above and beyond. Her ability to inspire a love of learning and leadership in her students is unmatched. In her class, we don't just learn about student council. We learn about teamwork, problem solving, and the importance of using our voices to improve our school and our community. Ms. Montez motivates us to dream big and take pride in what we do. She always makes sure every student's voice is heard, whether they are a freshman just finding their place or a senior preparing to graduate. Her leadership style is one of inclusivity and encouragement, ensuring that no student ever feels left out. On a personal level, Ms. Montez has been a constant source of guidance for me. Whenever I feel discouraged or overwhelmed, she has been there with the right words of encouragement and advice. I couldn't thank her enough. She always reminds me of my potential and always encouraged me to keep going. Her kindness and positivity and belief in her students is what makes her stand out at Elko High School. She doesn't just teach leadership, she models it every single day in the ways that she carries herself and carries others. Her impact extends for the beyond the student council classroom. Parents, admin, and students alike recognize her model of excellence because she is involved in so many aspects of school life, from her teacher appreciation projects to graduation ceremonies and everything in between. She is always around appreciating others, but is never appreciated as much as she should be. She fosters school spirit and builds traditions that bring our community together year after year. Her efforts have not gone unnoticed. In fact, she was named Advisor of the Year at the Nevada Student Council State Conference, a well-deserved recognition of her outstanding work. What makes Mrs. Montez truly deserving of this award is her unwavering commitment to championing students. She inspires us to not only be better leaders, but to also be better people. She has shown me and others countless of times what it means to dedicate yourself fully to your students and to believe in your potential even when you doubt yourself. Her positivity creates an environment where everyone feels welcome, valued, and motivated to contribute. That's why we have such an amazing student council. In short, Ms. Montez is more than just a teacher or an advisor. She is a role model, a mentor, and a true champion for students. Her dedication and inspiration and heart for education makes her an ideal candidate for this award, and I cannot think of anyone else more deserving. Daniela Luna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniela. Appreciate you reading that. And congratulations, Jordan. Come on up and shake some hands. All right, while they finish shaking hands, we're going to ask another teacher from Elko High to come up, and that's Mrs. Moreno. If you'll come stand up there. Mrs. Nicole Moreno, teacher from Elko High School. We actually had 2 different nominations submitted for her, and I'm going to read those for you right now, okay?
Thank you.
And we got a little friend up here with us, too. All right, so the first nomination reads, Nicole Moreno is a math and CTE teacher and advisor at Elko High School. I honestly don't know when this woman sleeps. She works hard, gives 100% to all of her many roles. She teaches math, multimedia, and advises multiple activities, as well as being a leader on our leadership council for school improvement. Within these activities, she organizes volunteer service opportunities, regional and state competitions, awards recognition, and student involvement to ensure students are involved, recognizing their hard work and given the opportunity to be seen. Mrs. Moreno is the most organized person I know, working with students to ensure they are successful at meeting requirements for Key Club, National Honor Society, and FBLA. She also has a passion for making sure students are responsible and active in their school careers by leading the attendance committee as part of our school improvement committee. Mrs. Moreno has put in countless hours to developing letters, contracts, and social media information regarding the importance of attendance through her committee and her multimedia campus beat class. She is an active member of the community through youth sports and family services. She has a huge heart and an amazing amount of energy that she puts into our school and the students in her programs. She's an excellent example of working hard and enjoying life to the fullest. It is an honor to nominate Mrs. Moreno. She represents our district well. So that was submitted by I'm assuming a coworker of hers. This is an anonymous ECSD employee. And the other nomination is also from an anonymous ECSD employee, and that one reads, Nicole is simply one of those people who never stops giving to our school. She teaches all 7 periods every day, math at multiple levels, including inclusion classes, along with several levels of media. No matter the subject or the group of students in front of her, she shows up prepared, positive, and ready to help kids succeed. She works closely with her co-teacher in inclusion and truly values that partnership. Together, they create a classroom where every student feels supported. Outside of her classroom, Nicole's impact is everywhere. She advises Key Club, National Honor Society, Campus Beat, and Academic E. These groups don't just meet, they thrive because of the time and heart she pours into them. She invests in students as leaders and encourages them to step up and be involved. Nicole also serves on the leadership team and leads our attendance committee. Those roles take extra time and energy, and she never hesitates to step up. She's dependable, thoughtful, and always focused on what's best for students and for our school as a whole. What really sets Nicole apart is her work ethic and her spirit. She works tirelessly, but she does it with a positive attitude and steady commitment. She cares deeply about her students, collaborates well with colleagues, and gives her best every single day. She truly embodies what the S.T.A.R. Award stands for, and our school is better because of her, and she is more than deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Nicole. Come on over so we can shake your hand. Sweetie, thank you. All right, good handshaking. All right, next up, we're gonna have from Spring Creek Middle School, Mrs. Patricia Tanner, come on forward. Mrs. Tanner was nominated by one of her students. I don't think Sophie is here today, but Sophie Rodriguez is a student at Spring Creek Middle, and Sophie wrote the following short but sweet nomination about her. Is she a former student of yours?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yep, of her former teacher, Mrs. Tanner, and she said Mrs. Tanner was an amazing teacher. She was really kind. I like how Mrs. Tanner taught. She used her real life experiences to make social studies fun. When I see her, she always takes the time to say hi. She was really one of the best teachers. She was really caring, and that is why I think you should nominate Patricia Tanner for this S.T.A.R.S award. And I think if Mrs. McDermott, your principal there at Spring Creek Middle, she elaborated on this allusion to using real life experiences to make social studies fun. From what I understand, you do a fair bit of traveling and learning about the things you're teaching kids, and she is always sure to get pictures and souvenirs and things like that that bring those things to life for her students. So she brings the learning alive for her kids every year and really makes it meaningful to them. So
yeah. I've been very blessed to be to other civilizations, and I teach for ancient civilizations, so I can give them that.
That's awesome.
Comparison, and so I like that.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, and congratulations again for being nominated and receiving the S.T.A.R.S award. Congrats. All right, while she's wrapping up the handshakes, we'll ask Lainey Ulrich. I saw her walking. There you are. Hello, Lainey. Come on forward. Yeah, we got board meetings at night. People bring their cute little kiddos with them. Thanks for joining us. All right, so Lainey is a teacher, elementary teacher at Carlin Combined School, and Lainey was nominated by an anonymous ECSD employee, coworker of hers, and I'm going to read that nomination now. So it says, "It is with great pride and sincerity that I nominate Lainey for the S.T.A.R.S award. In my time working alongside her, I have witnessed a level of dedication that extends far beyond the four walls of her classroom. She is not only an exceptional educator, but a vital architect of our school's culture and a tireless advocate for everyone within it. Lainey possesses the rare ability to see the latent potential in every student, regardless of their starting point. She creates an environment where students of all backgrounds feel safe to take risks and motivated to excel. Whether she is staying late to provide extra help or building lessons that will engage all students, her students first mentality is the heartbeat of her professional practice. What truly sets Lainey apart is her commitment to her peers. In a profession that can often feel isolating, she acts as a bridge. She is the first to share resources, where she consistently offers her best materials and strategies to help others succeed. She offers mentorship. She provides a safe harbor for new teachers navigating their first years, and she leads by example with her professional poise during high-stress periods and serving as a stabilizing force for the entire department. Beyond her daily duties, Lainey carries a deep concern for the health of our school as a whole. She doesn't just identify problems, she brings solutions. Whether she is serving on school improvement committees or spending countless hours applying for a grant that will benefit all students from K-5 by getting physical books in the classroom that align with social studies and science standards, she works with the big picture in mind. She is a champion for a positive school climate, ensuring that our campus is a place where both teachers and students want to be. Lainey is the definition of a model of excellence. Her selflessness, skill, and unwavering commitment to the betterment of our school and district make her uniquely qualified for this recognition. She doesn't just do her job, she elevates the jobs of those around her. Congratulations, Lainey. All right, and then that was our last in-person. We did have one more who is unable to make. I'm going to just read that one. And this was a nomination letter for Celeste Bennett, who is a bus driver with transportation out of Elko. And she was nominated by one of her fellow drivers, Stormy Barrett. And Stormy said the following about Celeste. She said, Celeste has a big heart. She took me under her wing when I started here 9 years ago. She's been like a mother to me. She's always full of stories and willing to help whenever and wherever needed. She goes out of her way to make you feel like you're important. She helped me through a few rough patches. She's always there to put a smile on your face or make you laugh, even when you're not having a great day. Nice to have someone around who can make you smile or laugh when things are tough. So really appreciative of Celeste and the positive attitude and demeanor and support she brings to our students and her fellow coworkers there at transportation. So
Mr. Anderson, if I can add on that.
Yeah.
She also happens to be a trainer, and only because of her am I allowed to be behind the bus and have the privilege of driving. I happened to see her this afternoon and tried to drag her out of transportation to bring her down here, and she would not have any of it. So she's a very private person in public, but individually, she does an amazing job.
Yeah, she neither wanted the award nor a picture when we came and brought it, but them's the breaks. You got nominated and you won. But yeah, congratulations again to Celeste. And that is, before we're done, that is all of the recipients that I had to read in today. But I do want to say thank you to our sponsors again. And those sponsors are Dos Amigos, Fratelli Pizza, Leanne's Floral Designs, Maverick Gaming, Orla Mining, Rotary Club of Elko Desert Sunrise, the Star, and Sugar E Spice. That list has grown over the last couple of years. I love to see the support that we get from our community members, and sometimes, especially in the midst of some of our budget conversations, people worry about what are we spending money on, and something a frivolous expenditure, et cetera. Everything about the STARS Awards is completely funded by our generous community partners. So they are responsible, and to whom we owe gratitude for being able to do these recognitions. So thank you to all of those sponsors.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. And we'll move on now to item 1.07, the presentation on theater in our school month from the Elko High School Thespian Troupe. So it looks like we've got the Thespian Troupe officers, if you want to come up, Lauren, Taylor, Kelsey, Alyssa, and Rachel. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the school board, administration, and guests. My name is Lauren Valentine, and I am the president of the Elko High School Theater Club and Thespian Troupe 309. This is our vice president, Taylor Natapu, our secretary, Kelsey Black, our treasurer, Alyssa Lavering, and our historian, Rachel Wilkins. We are here this evening because March was Theaters in Schools Month, a time dedicated to recognizing the impact of theater programs on students and schools, as well as advocating for and raising awareness of the importance of theater education. Next slide.
Theater is more than just performing on stage. It's a place where students learn teamwork, responsibility, creativity, and leadership. Students learn to solve problems together, communicate effectively, and support one another as they work towards a shared goal. Most importantly, theater creates a place where students feel like they belong. Next slide, please. To
To show the impact of theater, we asked the students one simple question: how has theater helped you and why do you love it? In this video, you'll hear some of the answers from both our drama students and our CTE theater tech students in their own words.
So sorry, how do you hit?
Supposed to have a video there?
I think so, yeah. Yes, there's supposed to be video. Maybe?
We have one of those things that sometimes just happens.
Okay.
The videos to play.
Yep,
Here we go.
there we go.
This is my first year doing musical theater, and I was really nervous. And a moment that helped me realize that I could do more than I thought I could was when I did my first Thespian. I got top 10 in the state, and that was something that I was really surprised on.
I believe that the theater programs are important because in theater tech we're learning hands-on and we're working as a team, as well as in acting. We collaborate, we always are working, and we're such a big family.
I've met all my friends through theater. I've personally changed a lot since I've joined. Theater brings people together and allows them to be who they want to be.
Theater helped me recognize that I'm more capable than I thought, because I always thought that I was a really bad dancer. But just by working with Laura and all of our ensemble dances and the stuff that we've been doing this year, I think I've improved a lot, and it's really helped my self-confidence.
What you just heard reflects what we see every day in our program. Theater helps students build confidence and discover their strengths and grow as individuals. It teaches leadership, problem solving, and collaboration skills that extend far beyond the stage.
Theater also offers opportunities for every kind of student, whether performing on stage or working behind the scenes in lighting, sound, costumes, or set construction. Students are able to contribute, learn valuable skills, and be a part of something meaningful. Theater is truly a place where everyone can find where they belong. One of the things I think we all enjoy the most is the feeling of being part of something bigger and becoming a family.
The voices you heard tonight represent what theater means to so many students. Theater is a place where students build lasting friendships, confidence, develop leadership skills, and learn how to support one another. Programs like this help students grow not only as performers and technicians, but as people. Thank you for supporting arts education and for helping provide opportunities that make a lasting difference in students' lives. Before we finish up our presentation, I'd like to ask if anyone has any questions.
No, go ahead.
All right, so finally, we would like to invite you all to come to our upcoming production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It will be opening on April 24th and closing on May 2nd. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Jeff, before you go on too, I just want to give a shout out to Janine Hoskins, who's sitting back there. She's the theater teacher and sponsor for the drama club, and she directs all of their plays, and that program has really taken off in the last few years. And obviously, you guys know my background. I'm partial to some theater, but she just does such an excellent job, and I love how that program's grown. So I want to give kudos to the excellent educator behind all this.
Thank you very much. All All right, we will move on to item 1.08, that's input from the public. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public, if any. In the interest of privacy and due process, the public is requested not to raise personnel issues except in a legally noticed closed personal session of the board. Comments are limited to 3 consecutive minutes. The speaker's time may not be reserved, divided, apportioned, or deferred. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been included specifically on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. I do have one online, and I've also got one here. I'm going to go ahead and read the email one first. This is from Karen Williams. Hello, board members and Superintendent Anderson. My name is Karen Williams. Yeah?
I'm here. I just wanted you all to have a copy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Karen. I'll let you go ahead. But then, Karen, come on up first. I'm sorry.
Don't count that on my time.
No, we'll reset for you. Go ahead, Karen. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yes, sorry. I wanted you to have information and a little article. Hi, board members and Superintendent Anderson. My name is Karen Williams. I speak to you as a parent and a teacher in this district. I am a solo parent. My son's father passed away 2 years ago. Since then, his health insurance has been solely on me. I paid for him under the dependent amount of $447 every month for 6 months last year when I was a long-term sub. During that time, he was diagnosed with ADHD. His diagnosis appointment was $900. After I got the bill, I was informed ADHD was not covered under my school district health insurance. When I called, I was informed ADHD was not covered because it was a behavioral issue. And as an educator, I'm well aware ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder, not a behavioral disorder. I want to bring light to this issue as insurance meetings are happening currently so that you are well informed and educated. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Lost my spot. This is a very common neurodevelopmental disorder that affects 1 in 9 children. Common symptoms of ADHD are hyperactivity, inattention, and impulsivity. These symptoms impact executive functions, causing challenges with planning, working memory, and managing emotions. This is where behaviors happen as a result of the symptoms happening in the brain. If we are classifying it as a behavioral issue, then why are IEP and 504 students classified with ADHD symptoms qualifying under a health impairment, when health insurance is classifying it as a behavioral issue, not a medical issue or a health impairment? Treatments such as therapy and medication are common ways of managing ADHD. When it came to my son, his medication and therapy was not covered under district insurance, and I had to pay out of pocket. This was a financial burden on our family. My son is no longer on our district insurance. I believe it's important that we educate ourselves on common disorders affecting our district, such as ADHD, autism, and dyslexia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, I've got public comment from Holland Wines.
Okay, I put a questionnaire out. I'd also like to thank all of you who informed me that the questionnaire that I created in my car on Google Forms wasn't scientific data. While fidelity can be an issue with a survey such as this, I believe that the survey showed 2 things fairly clearly. First, we have a lot of parents and educators in this county that truly care about these kids and their education. Also, behavior is making the learning environment more difficult. I realize that this is a societal issue that is seeping into our schools, but we need to find a way to raise the expectations and hold people accountable. By establishing clear expectations, consistent consequences, stronger systems of accountability, both students and parents, we have an opportunity to address several of the challenges at once. Students need to feel safe. Teachers deserve classrooms where they can teach. Meaningful learning requires both. It is equally important that we support our educators. They are working hard, often under difficult circumstances, and they should not be expected to spend a significant portion of their day managing ongoing behavior disruptions. Parents, many of you in the questionnaire said that feeling unheard was an issue for you. Where are you? It's time to show up. You still have a responsibility to parent even when your children are in the public education system. A strong school system depends on engaged, responsive, and collaborative parents. When concerns arise, approaching them with an openness and a willingness to partner with educators is essential to creating positive outcomes. We recognize that frameworks such as IDEA and FAPE exist to protect access to education. However, access should not come at the expense of safety and learning for others in the classroom. There has to be a balance between support and accountability. Without accountability, support alone is not enough. Our educators are on the front lines every day. Their insight is invaluable. They should play a leading role in shaping solutions, and too often decisions are made without fully incorporating their lived experience. Put a survey out for teachers and see how many people are instantly outraged. There are so many amazing things happening in these schools every day. I mean, this is so encouraging to hear these things. We should be highlighting those. Over 200 responses came from families currently enrolled in the district who are considering leaving. Additionally, the local charter school has a wait list of over 800 students. That's not a small issue, it's a signal. If we want to retain families, we must focus on restoring trust, improving outcomes, and creating a system that balances meaningful support with consistent accountability. Contrary to popular belief, keeping in mind that we only see the worst of each other's worlds, the vast majority of homeschool parents care deeply and pour an incredible amount of energy into their child's education. I also think that expanding NNVA is not wise. According to the survey, 53% of parents said that they would not consider it at all.
Sorry, that's your time.
That's okay.
Thank you. Do we have any further public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Mr. McCarty, you had an item there.
I did, thank you. If we can pull 2.02 out of the consent agenda for a brief discussion, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and handle that after we approve the rest, or just, is there
Move to
anything else
approve the
from
rest.
the board? Okay, we have a motion to approve the rest.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 2.02 is the receipt, review, and possible approval of board member professional development and travel for possible action.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may, I just want to encourage our members on NASB to in turn encourage NASB itself to do everything they can to minimize the requirement for travel. I recognize that in-person learning is important. It develops the ability to make those connections as well. However, there should be ways that we can reduce some of these expenses. Every district is seeing this. We're asking our employees to minimize their travel as well. So just want to make sure that we're doing that as we consider all of the board expenditures that we're doing. I just want to see that NASB is aware of the issue and like to see more distance learning opportunities.
Thank you.
With that, oh, please.
Certainly, the chair recognizes Trustee Neal.
First of all, I will take that information to Mr. Harris. And just so the board knows, I am paying for my own travel. I paid for the registration. I'm paying for the hotel. The only thing I asked for is to use a district car, but I'll pay for gas in that too, so it's not really costing the district much except a little wear on the tires, just so the board knows.
Mr. Chair, with that, I move to approve item 2.02.
I can wait till I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I just wanted to throw a little out. So I think what Mr. McCarty's just talking about is just that we try and do this, it's an organization of boards. So, but I think he would agree that we need to continue to do continuing ed, that we need to meet with other boards and those types of things. So I've given you guys all this board expenditures. I've been told one of the years is not as accurate as it possibly could be. However, even by adding what's there, we do not spend even close to 1% of the budget. So I would encourage us to do, even when we added, what we'll discuss later in the meeting with Dr. Asbury, we still weren't even close. So while we sit here, I know it's a good show for the public and that they know. I would argue that we spend next to nothing for the board to run in and of itself. So I would encourage everybody to. I would encourage you not to dismiss those entitlements that you have because, they are what we have and they're there for a reason. And when we don't use them, things tend to disappear. And as we all know, even what we're paid up here is part of NRS too. So I applaud you, Susan, I really do. But I would also encourage you to charge the district instead because, as we all know, we don't just spend the 1 to 3 or 4 hour meetings here. We spend plenty of other time doing other things for the board too. So that was just just my 2 cents there. But I think what Mr. McCarty was saying is, hey, can we potentially add some other options there? So, and I know that that's other options for other events that the board has been invited to as well. So.
And I'd add, that's something we have talked to NASB about, and I will push some more, the both of us will, on that. That being said, I believe that the professional development that we are doing is extremely valuable. I know that 3 of us have been able to obtain our certified public official certifications, and it wouldn't be possible without doing these things. I myself do try and take it easy too on what I do claim. Like, I live far enough away, I could be claiming mileage for board meetings, but I choose not to do that. I try and keep it to a minimum, but I still feel like these are important resources for us to utilize. For example, I'm going to San Antonio for the National School Board Convention, but in that, I will be working as a delegate from the state of Nevada in furthering our position with the federal government and trying to bring some of that money back to us in the form of funding, however we can. So that money that we do spend on travel and on professional development can translate exponentially to what we can bring back to the district from doing those activities. So I encourage still those of you that can make it to these training, please do so. But I will work towards trying to get more online opportunities so we can minimize those as well.
I'm going to just throw out there too that so many hours of professional development in certain areas is not only helpful, but it's actually required by law.
First and third year, yes.
So that is something that we have to do in order to serve on the board.
All right, anything further from the board on this? We have a motion and a second to approve the board member professional development and travel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, we will move on now to accounts payable 3.01.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the accounts payable, excepting Lone Wolf.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve accounts payable, except for Lone Wolf. Any discussion or disclosures?
As far as I know, I looked clear through it and double checked it, but it didn't look like Wellthrough Electric was on this accounts payable, unless I missed it somehow. It was on it? It wasn't. Was it? I know there's a search function. I went through it.
You didn't see it, but you're free to make any kind of disclosure if you want.
No, I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
And I will disclose that I'm a member of the Elko County Reading Council, but I'm not going to abstain.
I will disclose I'm a family member that is on there, and I will not be abstaining.
All right, so we had a motion. Did we have a second there?
I did.
Okay, yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries. And we have the Lone Wolf accounts payable left.
Mr. Chair, move to approve accounts payable Lone Wolf.
Second.
All right, any discussion or disclosures?
I have to disclose that I work for Lone Wolf and I will be abstaining from voting.
Anything further? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, now we're on to 4.01. Review, discussion, and possible approval of proposed revisions to policy JDFH, student discipline, homeless and foster students for possible action. Let's see, and this will be presented by Director of Secondary Education, Emily Nelson.
Hi, everyone. So you'll see that we made some changes to help to clarify some of the wording that was causing some problems when we looked at this proposal of policy last time. This is the policy that just follows what the current NRS is. And so by including this policy, we are following the NRS.
Thank you. How would the board like to proceed?
If I may, Mr. Chair, under section 3, and I had asked this question, I'm still not quite following it. Long-term suspensions require 3 steps. First, to conduct a meeting. Second, if that meeting, so A would be conduct the meeting. B, if it's determined in the meeting that the conduct is due to the status of the student, then there's a set of things to go. But 3 says that if it's determined that the conduct was not caused by the status of the employee, of the student, that the suspension must be terminated.
So that was a really good catch, and we fixed it.
Oh, great. Thank you, because I was like, this is not making sense to me. Perfect. Okay.
That was a very good catch. So thank you for that. We've clarified that, taken out that wording, so the one that you see now in front of you doesn't have that.
Is that the red line 2 clean?
Yeah.
What exactly was taken out?
The not.
Red section?
Well, I think
It doesn't look like.
Mr. Salyer must have changed the wording altogether there, but what was taken out was the not. It is if it's determined, so it needs to read that if it's determined that a student, whatever they did was because of their situation in foster care or from being homeless, then we have to terminate the suspension at that time. And we kind of talked about some of those possibilities, and it would be a high bar to reach that. We discussed the, potential if it was a student who, was trying to break into a school because they didn't have a place to live. Then that would be discipline. That kind of discipline, breaking and entering, would not hold up for this student since they were homeless.
I think the confusion, Emily, is that the not is still in that paragraph, as is on the agenda right now. If we're talking about 3C.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it still says not. So
It's on the red line clean, red line 2 clean.
Oh, the clean is correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it
Or is it
also
not?
says not.
Sorry.
Okay, then I've told Rob that it needs to be fixed.
Let's do this.
He's changed the,
It's okay.
yeah,
So-
he changed some things on me, so I wasn't seeing the direct section.
I would just recommend whatever motion you make, if I'm suggesting and recommending that you do an approval today of this, but I would do so with the caveat of removing not from that section, because you're
3C.
correct. Yeah, 3C.
I have another question.
Mhm.
Under 2B, it says, under 2, it says a principal may suspend a homeless student or student in foster care for 5 to 8 days.
Excuse me, point of order. I'm so sorry. Can we put it up on the TV? Are we doing that?
Yes.
So sorry, Brooke. You're saying it, and these guys are looking around, and I'm looking too. So I just.
Yeah, I'm seeing something different too. So
5 to 8 days only if, and then it lists the principal determines that the conduct of the student possesses an ongoing threat and a determination is made that homelessness or being in foster care was not a factor in the behavior that led to the suspension. So it has to be both of those things, or is it one or the other? Should it be and, or should it be or? And then
Brooke, will you restate where you're reading that?
under 2,
2B. Okay.
2A and B there.
Thank you.
And then my other question is, it says on B, it says a determination is made that homelessness or being in foster care was not a factor in the behavior that led to the suspension. Is that determination just made by the principal himself, for herself, because there's possibly not a meeting that's been held yet, because the meeting that is supposed to be held, you have up to 8 days to hold that meeting. So I'm just wondering, is that something the principal can determine on his own first before that meeting is held, or no?
So I'm not maybe reading it the same way you are. So if this is if this is going to be a suspension, a significant suspension, potentially a long-term suspension of more than 4 days, is that where we're seeing, then they have up to 8 days to make that determination, and that meeting has to be held with that group of people. That it says that it needs to include the principal and the guardian. So I guess I'm not quite sure.
So Ms. Nielsen, if I may, the committee that you're describing is included under Section 3, but is not included in Section 2. So should that committee also be called under a suspension of 5 to 8 days, which is covered under subsection 2?
That's what I'm just wondering, because it says a principal may suspend
Mm-hmm.
a homeless student or student in foster care for 5 to 8 school days only if, and then it says that determination is made that foster care or homelessness was not a factor in the behavior, but they also have up to 8 days to have that meeting. So I'm just wondering, is the principal the one determining that? And then after 8 days, it's a committee?
Yeah, you have to think of this it's numbered in 3 different categories for a reason. So the first category, which we're not really talking about, is anything 4 days or less. The second category is suspensions of 5 to 8. And you are correct, the and is supposed to be an and, right? Because not only does it have to be that they pose a threat, but that homelessness or foster was not a factor. So the principal does have the ability to determine that based off of their knowledge of the situation. Where the committee comes into play is if it's going to be a long-term suspension, which by definition is longer than 8 school days. So if it's going to go beyond that, it requires the group to meet together.
Okay.
But only when it surpasses 8 days.
Okay. I personally feel like that should be clarified in there a little bit, that the principal is the one making that determination under Section 2, and that is a committee under Section 3, just so it's clearer there.
So it says it twice in Section 2 already. It starts out with a principal may, and then A says the principal determines. For Section 2 I'm talking about.
Okay. So A goes into B.
Yes. Yeah, those two go
And
together.
I have
How
to
the principals
apologize. I had pulled up one that was another working policy that I'd pulled up, and I got it confused with the current. So yes, all of that definitely needs to be changed. Something else as well that I would like to consider is changing the long-term suspension to a suspension of 9 days or more. So we keep the same language, and that it just will then definitely include expulsion and permanent expulsion. That comment came up as well in someone's question that you had, and I thought that was a good point as well, that it's not explicit. It doesn't say permanent expulsion and expulsion, it says long-term suspension. So that's something that I've also been considering and talking to Rob about and wanted your opinion on.
So is this needing to go back for more work, is what we're saying?
There are small changes. If we agree to make those changes, then we could approve this policy with the changes that we mentioned, taking out the not and changing the language of long-term to 9 or more days.
I still feel like, just for clarity, instead of it saying a determination is made on B, a determination is made that homelessness or being in foster care was not a factor. I feel like it needs to say, like A does, the principal determines that the conduct of a student possesses an ongoing threat, and the principal determines that homelessness or being in foster care was not a factor. So that there's no confusion on that, and people think that they're going to be able to have this committee meet for that B determination.
The only thing I'd say there is that A and B are actually one sentence.
Yeah, as far as like policy speak goes, the and means it's a continuation of the previous statement. So the principal determines that, ... and the principal determines that, ... Like that is policy speak. I understand what you're saying. It can make it clearer by delineating it more clearly, but it is correct as far as policy is written.
I don't think it would change anything if we just added it.
No.
I mean, if you feel like it would add clarity, I have no problem with that.
That could also keep the tense the same. Principal determines this, principal determines that.
You could just run it through legal and see what it says too. I mean, that's what we pay them a ton of money for, so. I'll be like, hey, does this even matter?
Or we could just approve with the corrections that we've made and don't send it back to legal.
So that's my question though, is procedurally, like, is there a reason to rush this through then?
That was, thank you. Is there something that, without getting into FERPA and the rest of things, is there a reason this needs to be passed tonight?
Only because it's already a passed statute, so we need to be in compliance and make sure that everybody's following the policy. As soon as the policies are approved by the board, then we bring them to the administration, and so everybody gets the latest policies that have been approved, and it delays that process to letting principals, be able to discuss and put procedures in place.
I'd like to try a motion, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Go for it.
Move to approve policy JDFH Red 2 with the suggested changes and the understanding that it comes back to the board no later than 2 meetings from now for final review and ability to modify at that point.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Are you sure? Sounds like we should table it. That's my discussion. Like, I agree what you're saying. Maybe it would be up to the privy of the president, but I mean, he obviously understands how important it is for you to have. I would just see, I get what you're doing.
Right.
I almost.
But in the orders, we have a thing called, we're just going to table that, like, and then we'll just come back to that, So.
Right now, the motion is to
For sure.
approve the policy and seconded with the changes and bring back in 2 weeks we could make it an action item.
In 2 weeks, can we just have the item with the proposed changes and just have it on consent agenda for you to just review and make sure it says what you wanted it to say?
Well, that's not how the motion went.
It says set for review, right?
Yeah, that would have certainly fit with what I was saying. I just wanted within the next 2 meetings that we have a review. A consent agenda would certainly give it back before the board for review, and it could be pulled out at that point.
All right. Any further discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
And chair votes aye. Motion carries. All right, moving on to 4.02. Review, discussion, and possible approval of proposed revisions to policy JDDC, student discipline, possession of a firearm, dangerous weapon, or prohibited item for possible action.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think this is pretty clear on what's been done here. I appreciate cleaning that language up. My biggest concern is that let me back that up. I'm also appreciative of the fact that under all circumstances, the superintendent has that ability to modify. My biggest concern is that we're not creating a disparity between students based solely on situation. I feel for the situation for those that may not have a stable home life, but I don't want this to be a get out of jail free card at the expense of our other students who also are held accountable to a different standard. So that's my only concern there. And with that, I have no reason to object to this. Therefore, I move to approve policy JDDC as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the policy. Any discussion?
I just like I agree with Mr. McCarty. I don't think that we should be doing this. It's, you know, I get that people have extraneous circumstances, but this seems to be, we seem to be continuing to create. And I understand you guys don't have any control. So I'm going to add that as well, as we have people stand at the podium telling us to change things that the state has to change. So I'm just putting it on record, as Mr. McCarty did, that this is getting out of hand and we need to really look into this, and people should be at the state level looking at it. So that's all I have to say.
And thank you actually for that, Dr. Byers, because one other thing that I'd like for us to perhaps explore at one time when we have legal counsel available to us that we're doing something else for, not to create more expense, I'd like to see if we have the ability at the beginning of policies to say that Elko County Board of Trustees does not approve this policy. This is required by the state of Nevada, because we're starting to get to that point where these are things we don't agree with. We are required to do this under state, and I'd like it written into policy. This is not an approved policy. This is a required policy, because I think there's a very big difference there.
Yep.
Our constituents are very clear on many things. When when our hands are tied, we must have the ability to say, this is not something we approve. This is something that's required. So if that's a discussion we can have at a later point, that's great, but that was one of the things that I had seen coming through this, so thank you
That's a
for that
motion, but I back
reminder.
him up too as well. So.
All right, any further discussion on that? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the revisions of policy JDDC. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, and motion passes.
Thank you.
And Ms. Nielsen, sorry for cutting you off. I just figured that might save a little bit of time.
Thank you. All right, 4.03 was removed. We'll move on to 4.04. Permission to go to bid for stair projects at Flagview Intermediate School, Mountain View Elementary School, and Spring Creek Elementary School for possible action. Mr. Stalky.
Good evening, Board. So permission to go out to bid for those 3 schools. We have failing stairs there, concrete is crumbling. There's rebar sticking out, and it's just kind of a hazard, so.
Pardon me, point of order. Can we get the pictures up so that people can see? I appreciate what you've done there. They're very descriptive, and that would really help out with your, with your description. So if we could put those on so the general public can see what we're dealing with.
While we're waiting, maybe I can just ask, how do you know, do you have to wait to a certain point that they've gotten to in order to do repair, like, or is it?
Yeah, we've
the
done
schools?
repair and they're still just failing. I mean, if we can repair them, we try to repair them, but these are just beyond repair. So this has probably been about a year in the works, kind of, we've known about different stairs for probably actually
closer to 2 years.
Yeah, it's closer to 2 years, so, yeah.
I think
and then,
so.
Because I figured it's not like this happens overnight, so.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's Flagview Intermediate. You can kind of see up on the left, kind of towards the top, it's really crumbling up there. I try to take some better pictures. If we want to move to.
Yeah, there's a good, there's a really, I'd look at it and be like, oh, no, it's fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah, you zoom in, it's a lot more apparent. RJ, if you have the capability to zoom in and move around, that'd be good.
Yeah, you can kind of see that one, probably the second landing right there. That's, there's rebar coming out, and yeah.
Not only are the stairs failing, but you can see the handrails are almost rusted
Yeah, they're
through.
about ready to fall off, and a poor kid's going to fall down that hill, and so.
Is this a total of 3 individual staircases?
Yes. So we kind of looked at like maybe doing them separate, but I just bundled all 3 together just to kind of get contractors motivated because we really weren't getting any traction with some of the local contractors here. So maybe a little bigger project for them and that way they'll, place a bid.
On that note, that just seems very expensive
Yes.
to me. $210,000 for 3, that's $70,000 a staircase.
Yeah, basically.
And I mean, I don't see it. That's completely honest. I don't see it.
Hopefully the bid comes back much lower.
Me?
Hopefully the bid
Well,
comes
if
back
you
much
put that
lower.
number out in the budget, it won't.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, Jeff, I had this one quoted because this was kind of our worst one, and it's pretty close. I had 2 different local contractors quote this, and they came in about $50,000, $60,000 2 years ago. So
3 years ago, it was 25 for my 4-car driveway. So.
Yeah.
That wasn't with the government tax of your school district.
I would
either,
submit
so.
that that's about the same amount of concrete as this.
I would too as well, yeah.
And so that seems a little more reasonable to me.
You're not throwing in prevailing wage, you're
Look,
not throwing in.
I'm speaking from someone who did concrete and all through high school and after. And I mean, I understand what it is, but I'm looking at these and I just don't see $200,000. I don't, it's not even close.
So notice to anybody out there that would like to bid, if you meet the requirements that Nevada requires, and you think you can do this and get a really inexpensive bid in and be pretty much guaranteed to get it, then great. We look forward to your submission.
Yes.
Mr. Stalkey, if I may, I recognize that this is that our capital improvement plan is not rank ordered, but I'm wondering why this was prioritized over perhaps the Spring Creek water tank reline or
safety.
Okay. Great.
Safety for the kids and I mean, the tank reline, we're working on that and we're putting stuff together, but that's not like an immediate issue. I feel like this is an immediate issue kids can't even get up the stair at Mountain View here, so.
Great, thank you. I also appreciate that the estimated bid on here is still $40,000 less than what the estimated on the capital improvement plan was, so hopefully we can continue to chip away at that.
Yeah, and this is all new railings with the staircase as well, so. And this is at Spring Creek Elementary, so. And this one, we will replace the staircase as well, and then kind of off to the side, there was a couple panels of concrete that will replace that the kids have kind of been hurting themselves on, so.
Matt, just out of curiosity, the difference between Spring Creek Elementary and Flag View, this one doesn't have rails, the other does. Is that simply because of the height? Is that the length of the landing?
Yeah, the slope landing, that whole deal. We kind of, we put in rails for this one just in case the county came back and said there was rails. But I think they approved without rails. So we kind of still have that in our bid, but so hopefully it'll be less. But I wanted to include that just so we weren't, surprised by another $25,000 worth of railing, so.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'm going to move to permit bidding on the stair projects at Flag View Intermediate School, Mountain View Elementary School, and Spring Creek Elementary School.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I did have a question. If a bid does come in, we're required to accept.
You guys, I don't think have to accept the bid, right?
No.
But
if we decide it's too
After
much.
every bidding process, I sign a document that with my recommendation to either accept a bid or to reject all bids. And then even there, you don't have to take my recommendation. That's part of the process. So we are not obligated to accept anything just because it's the lowest bid. We can reject all bids and say we're not doing it.
All right.
And I think on this, Jeff, too, you got to think about moving equipment in there to do all that demo, get all that old concrete out. It's, it's expensive. I wish it wasn't this expensive as well.
I completely understand the scope of the work, and this is something I myself could go and do. I'm not saying I could do it in a day, but it's not a $200,000 job. It just isn't. And if it is, God help us all.
And Mr. Anderson, there is an indication of rejecting bids in which we have to be very specific as to why we're rejecting bids. Is that based on a threshold for dollar amount?
Kind of getting out of my realm of confidently answering the question. I can find that answer out for you as we build up to that.
Okay.
We can even find that answer before we put the bid package out. Because right now you're giving us permission to, but
Yeah,
we haven't.
motion still stands. So just curious. And I believe we could recuse ourselves if somebody were to submit a bid if they qualify under the Nevada requirements. And
I have no designs on getting into the concrete business these days. That was a high school thing. It is hard work. I will dispute that. Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, chair votes aye, motion passes.
Thanks, guys.
All right, moving on to 4.05, receipt, review, and possible approval to declare all substitute teacher, substitute paraeducator, substitute maintenance custodian, substitute bus driver, substitute bus aides, substitute secretary, substitute health aide, and substitute nurse positions as critical needs positions effective for July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2028 for possible action. Mr. Krenka.
Thank you. Pretty much this is anybody that can be a sub. We're asking that we declare them critical needs. This has no negative or any different fiscal impact on the budget. This doesn't change the pay for any of our substitutes. What this helps with is when we have retirees that want to come back and sub, this gives them the ability to go past the 719 hours on the PERS requirement because it's critical needs. They can not, we don't have to pay PERS on them. We can just continue to pay on the Social Security side. And that also helps them if they approach the fiscal cap. When you retire, there's a certain amount that you can make in a PERS eligible position without it impacting your current retirement. This would allow them to go past that cap. It'd be very difficult for them to do that, probably based on our current sub rates, but at least they wouldn't have to keep track of it. Our staff wouldn't have to keep track of it. But more importantly, this would allow them to go past 719. Matt?
thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yep.
This requirement is a PERS requirement, not an Elko County School District requirement, as far as we have the ability to bring in whoever we want. However, retirees can't come in because PERS restricts them, correct?
Retirees could come in, but then we couldn't get them past the 719 hours. So if we had a long-term sub that was a retiree, or that would maybe not even for the full year, but for FMLA, specifically maternity seems to be the first one, they would only be able to do roughly 80 days of the school year. Those segments. That's where this helps the most. And then we also have people on the bus driver side and the parapro side.
Thank you.
This impacts.
Is there also, like when you retire, you have to wait so many days before, does it waive that?
Yes, this what there's Ms. Neal is referring to is there's a 90-day period. This waives that if a person is initially retires, this can bring it back, but we still have to wait until that person gets their first retirement check, so they're officially retired, and then we can go ahead and start on that substitute part. There's some weird health insurance things too that we have to maneuver, but that has nothing to do with this. This is just PERS.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the declaration of critical needs for the positions listed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Mr. Krinka.
thank you, Mr. Kringa, yeah. All right, item 4.06, receipt, review, and discussion regarding superintendent recommendations for plan to address budget concerns. Mr. Anderson.
Hello. So as we've been doing for the last handful of meetings, kind of similar type presentation, it's getting shorter because we're done doing a lot of the things, but we still have more to do. So just to walk you through where we are, and happy to take questions at the end. So this slide here shows where our progress is. Everything with a green check mark as before is officially either completed or taken action on it as a board. The one with the asterisk, the Chromebook purchases, you're not going to find anything in today's presentation for that because we have a separate agenda item for that. So that one we'll cover later. And I will kind of go through the rest of our items here. So on the next slide, remaining items for the board for you to do. The first one is, in fact, I'll just talk about the first two together because they'll probably happen at the same time, is we pretty much have those policies ready to go, finalizing fee structure for both. Oh, sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit. I was thinking of a third policy. We have a policy for usage of district facilities by outside entities. We have some of those we still need to get together. Honestly, that one, the intention is to have that one ready to go for next school year. So sometime before we enter the next fiscal year, we'll have those totally prepared. That's a little more cumbersome because it's not a single policy. There are a handful of policies within our policy manual that address that, so we have to make sure those all coincide correctly and we get those done properly, along with the fee structure. The next one, which is the policy governing fees for participation in district-sponsored athletics, that policy is basically done with a proposal for fees. Can anticipate seeing that at probably the next meeting for first read. And I think in my confusion of policies, I omitted the other one about credit recovery costs. We didn't originally think we were going to need a policy to accompany that, just a fee structure, but we did decide that there would be a policy amendment for that one as well. So we've got a policy to go along with that one, and I would anticipate seeing that at the next meeting also. The last item that pertains to the board's purview is that of any changes made to our self-funded insurance plan. And tomorrow afternoon, we have our next meeting there, and we will be discussing some of those potential changes. I will not commit to what will be recommended or decided by when, but I have made it clear in previous presentations that that is one of the priorities, not just for our current situation, but we've been talking about the need to continually update this year over year, as that was not done consistently in the past, and we need to make sure we're getting back up to speed with that. So we'll have some of those recommendations for you at an upcoming meeting, but I'm not going to commit to which meeting at this time, but sometime soon, hopefully. That is all that remains for the board to decide upon. As far as other actions for us, for me, and for us at central office, a little bit of an update. Font is pretty small, but a little bit of an update on current position review. We've been doing a lot of work there, and I shouldn't have said we. Cody has been doing a lot of work there on that front and making a lot of headway now that we've got some previous decisions made. So just as a little bit of an update there, the 20 certified positions that were identified for reduction at elementary schools, we're well on our way to getting all the people who remain, who needed to find new homes to teach at. We're getting a lot of that shuffling done, and it's almost squared away. And then the other numbers below there, the retirements number changed by a little bit, and that reflects the consent agenda today as well. I made an assumption that you would accept those. So those are accurate there. And we haven't hired new critical needs or long-term subs since the last time we saw this, so those numbers should be the same as well. We have made a lot of headway on the reduction of 0 hours. The initial projection was that we would be shooting for reducing at least $500,000 in 0 hours in conversations with principals and in looking at projected enrollments and registrations in classes at the high schools and elsewhere. We have identified at this point approximately $600,000, so we've surpassed our our hope of $500,000 to around $600,000, and that includes the cost of PERS within those 0 hours for next school year. So that's positive. I will say that there could be potential fluctuation there because, again, 0 hours are wholly dependent on what registrations occur, and there could also be situations where if at a campus we think we have things buttoned up and then middle of the summer someone says they're going, instead of hiring a new person, maybe we give someone a 0, so maybe we added a 0 hour, we lose money there, but we save more money by adding a 0 hour rather than hiring a new person. So that number is not hard and fast, but we feel pretty good at this point when you just total up the number of 0 hours, add in the PERS that we're talking about, it's right around $600,000. So that's good. And NBA expansion, a little bit of a snafu there, but we're still working on trying to have a flexible option for virtual education, as people are seeking that already, having that option be free to people through our NNBA. The snafu is that Edmentum, who is our provider for our secondary classes right now, they are not approved by NDE to do K through 5. So we can't just use our current provider for K-5. So we are looking at other possible providers, as well as, if there's another way to do that other than with a single provider. So we're evaluating that, but still with an intention to have that option available for people K-5 who may be looking for an alternative. And that's the best update I have for you right now, is we're still looking for that option. I mentioned credit recovery a little before, so we will have that for an upcoming meeting. The last item on here has shown up in conversations, but it was not on the list of things I've been talking about. However, recently, just given funding projections for next year and us not wanting to play things too close and to, just as long as we're ripping Band-Aids off and doing hard things, this is not one that we necessarily wanted to do, but that's been the case for all of these decisions. None of them are great, but it's been a topic of conversation. That is of our reading intervention positions. We use LLCs across most of our elementary schools, which provide Tier 2 intervention for primarily reading in our schools, and those cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 annually. So we have decided to remove that Tier 2 intervention cost from the general fund at this time, and we're going to try to make the most use of our investment in Lexia as both a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 intervention. We do still find value in the reading intervention positions. This is just like so many other things. The removal of this does not speak to the value of it, but just rather the severity of the situation we're in. So we are already, just as we did with middle school intramurals, we are already actively seeking another way to fund that. But I made the determination that we would not do that through the general fund anymore. So we're looking for more additional funding through grants to try to replace at least some of those positions. It's unlikely that we would find a grant that would cover all for the whole district, but we could find potentially grants that would apply to certain eligible campuses. So wherever we can find them to get those supports back in our schools, we will try to do so. But there's another $300,000. And that is the entirety of the update of things that aren't going to be covered already in another item. So do you have any questions for me?
I have a question about the reading intervention.
Yeah.
Will that, sorry, I got to think of the question. With possible retention by grade 3, do you think we will need those people again, or no?
Are you asking if when the grade by grade 3 retention requirement goes into play, if because of those mandatory retentions, if we're going to have to bring these back? Is that?
Yes. Thank you.
Yep, you're good. I will say, firstly, I and the folks at NASB are working hard to make changes to that read by grade 3 retention requirement. And as currently written, that requirement still provides any justifications for not doing a retention. It just, there's a paperwork and a process to do that if you want to. I'm not saying, I'm not going to comment on whether it's best or not to do that, but just given what the law says now, we would not necessarily have to have this, a reading intervention position in place. We would still need the the literacy strategists, the dyslexia strategists. We still have those in place. We will still have other types of interventions. So no, we would not just have to turn around and put them right back in place again. But to speak again to the value of having additional interventions, like the whole concept, right, is you want to provide as many opportunities and try to access kids in as many different ways as possible. Some may respond well to Lexia, some may not. Some may respond well to an in-person intervention, whereas others do not, right? So we'll do what we need to do to try to provide kids those opportunities in as much as we can, given our financial constraints.
Yeah, I hate to see a person be replaced by a program.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
If I may, the 0 hours, is that reduction purely management administrative reduction, or is that our instructors saying, our educators saying, you know what, I don't need my 0 hour this time, I'm going to give it back?
I would, Cody is welcome to interrupt me, but I would say that the process was very much an in-depth conversation between Mr. Krenka and the principals at every site, thinking about what those class sizes would look like, thinking about what's a manageable class size. We've talked about, in order to make the reductions we made at the elementary level, as far as those positions go, it required having some slight increases to class sizes. And so the same, in the spirit of equity, right? Like looking at secondary class sizes, which are already generally higher anyway than elementary, but still you don't want to, if you can help it, surpass around 30. And so it was really just a conversation with every site administrator, to what extent they had a conversation with every one of their teachers about it. I can't speak to that. No, I'm just not even going to go there.
I appreciate
but
that.
That was the process.
What I was looking for. Cool. Yep. Thank you.
Anything further from the board? All right, we will move on to item 4.07, review, discussion, and possible action regarding the elementary Chromebook allocation model and transitioning from a one-to-one shared classroom sets for possible action.
Thank you. So this was one that, originally not on the list of things to do, but very quickly made its way on the list and has been there for a while. And given the turnover we had in leadership and IT, it just took us a little bit to get to where we are today. But got this proposal for you today. And again, by way of just formality, technically something we could just do as a district office, but in the spirit of this being one of our strategic priorities, which was to have regular Chromebook refresh schedules, and we'd sort of had an intention of remaining one-to-one, both from a financial standpoint as well as for many people it feels a philosophical standpoint about whether or not that's the best. I've taken my direction, and here is our proposal for how we will address that moving forward. And I've got RJ in here. He's our new IT director, and so he's here just in case I put my foot in my mouth or I don't know an answer to one of your questions, but I'll get us going here. So we currently have around 12,000 plus devices in our fleet since August of this school year, and they're being utilized by our students across our district. You might say, wow, 12,000, that's a lot. It's more students than we have, and that's accurate. We intentionally have more than we need because things happen. So Chromebooks are currently deployed one-to-one or one device to one student, and they're assigned a device at the start of every year for classroom use. Our current inventory does reflect 15 to 20% of spares at each school to limit interruption for instruction due to a non-functioning device. So what that normally looks like is if a kid's device goes out midday, you don't have to wait for a week to get it repaired. You've got another one on hand. Check out the old one, you check in the new one, and you get to working on fixing the old one. So that's kind of how that's functioned. The current student enrollment at the time of this presentation was, or of this creation of this, was 9,138. And this is going to be a departure from what numbers we gave you earlier, so I want to make sure that everyone's catching on to this. So after an evaluation of our fleet, given that we have so many extra devices, we actually are going to save a lot more money next year than originally intended. The idea was if we did a reduction to make it 3-to-1 at every elementary classroom, that would be, we'd still need to purchase 1-to-1 for every secondary, and it would just be a 1/3 purchase for all the elementary. But we believe that given the number of devices we have, as well as the number that are going to be out of warranty already, as well as the capability of our computer techs to do those repairs in-house with our surplus devices, that we are just going to not purchase any next year at all. And we have in the neighborhood of, we have about $900,000 is what that cost us this year. I think it was like 897 something, so rounding up. So that was originally budgeted for next year under our supplies for instruction out of central office. So we're just not going to buy computers next year. So that's, I think originally we were talking about maybe like $160,000 over the course of 5 years to reach $800,000 after 5 years. We're going to save $900,000 next year, and then reevaluate in the spring where we are with the surplus and what our fleet looks like at that point. Probably not great to keep doing this into perpetuity because after 4 years we lose warranty. So for the devices that will still be in warranty, we won't have to do those in-house repairs. We can still just send those out and get those taken care of, and we will have to do the in-house repairs for ones where we have a surplus of the same exact device. So it's going to be a little bit of a change in structure of how we do computer repair next year. But our new leader in that department feels like it's definitely something we can do. And in the name of trying to find savings in every department, but still serve our students and still go 3-to-1, that is going to be the plan for next year. Just some numbers for you to support this and to give you an idea of what this looks like on an ongoing basis. To date, we've had 827 off-site repairs. Usually by the end of the year, we're well beyond that. We're in the neighborhood of 1,200 to 1,500. Just depends. It's hard to project who's going to break what. But that's what it's been so far this year. And also to date, we've had 134 devices reported missing or lost. As far as revenue potential from repair fees, if it's $20 for most damages, that's, could generate around $16,000, which isn't a whole lot. And then as far as loss due to intentional damage or theft, that number's a bit tougher, and that's based on an average of about a 400 device replacement charge. Of those 827 off-site repairs, it's worth noting that a little over 500 of those are what we would consider major repairs, and that would be something that is either related to the main board, the daughter board, the LCD screen, or the Chromebook frame going out. And so a good chunk of those 827, 60-ish% or so, 60 to 70% were for major repairs. So the proposal is that we would still deploy 1-to-1 at all of our secondary schools, which is in the neighborhood of 5,600 devices, and secondary represents 6th grade through 12th grade, just for reference. Elementary would be K through 5. Based on our current projected enrollment, that would be 4,800 students. So that's 4,800 with some surplus. That's where the 5,600 comes from. And that would give sites some 17% on-site spares while our techs work on repairing the broken ones. The Chromebooks deployed to all elementary education schools will transition to a shared cart model of 1-to-3 or 3-to-1. It's obviously not 3 students or 3 Chromebooks to 1 student, but 3 students to 1 Chromebook. for a need of 2,400 devices. The projected enrollment is 3925 as far as students go, over 201 elementary classes. Now, the carts themselves hold 30, so we would not have, and classrooms can fluctuate in size. You can have some classes of 27, some of 21, some of 18, depending on, or even less depending on where you are, but carts would hold and charge 30 devices, and so that's worth mentioning, just so we're clear. And then additionally, every elementary school would need to have its own cart for their library/multimedia class, as that acts on as an on-site computer lab, and they would need, for every class, they always need to have a Chromebook. So that class would have its own, very own, independent of the 3-to-1. Also worth noting, just reiterating that state proficiency exams do require a Chromebook to take. While that does create a little bit of a hardship where you can't test as many people on the same day, the testing windows are rather wide, so our school leaders know that they will, and they're already starting to work on that, on how they will stagger their testing window so that all students can still do that without that being as big of an interruption as it could be. So gives them some time to work on that plan. I mentioned earlier about the warranty. That's what the ADP is, the accidental damage protection coverage. So what this does create for us is a little bit of a challenge where about a little less than half of our devices will still have ADP coverage as we go into this next year. But as I mentioned before, we will work on the ones that have lost coverage in the interest of saving additional next year, and we will still be able to utilize the warranty on those that still have coverage. Positively, the devices, so what we are going to do strategically is, because elementary students are, you would think this might be the opposite, but that's not the case. Our elementary students are less rough on the devices. A larger proportion of our repairs, major repairs, come from our secondary kids who are a little more abusive, whether intentionally or unintentionally, to the devices. So what we will do is we will put the devices that are not covered with our elementary kids, as they tend to break them less, and we will have the ones that are under warranty with our secondary students, as they tend to cause more damage, to help us out from a staffing standpoint. And given, we talked about this earlier, all of this, it doesn't really matter too much for next year if we're not buying any anyway, but still maintaining a little bit of a position on the importance of the touchscreen for our younger students who do not have the dexterity or the ability quite yet to manipulate a computer differently. So we would like to still go with our touchscreen option, and that, again, is irrelevant for next year because we're not buying new ones anyway. And currently, all of our Chromebooks are touchscreen capable. So, and then from a numbers standpoint here as well, just to give you the breakdown, these are slightly different. The previous projections that were given were based off of a very specific model from one vendor as of that day, for a much cheaper bare bones version of a Chromebook. I think that number was $330 something per Chromebook. So what we're anticipating is that if we don't buy anything at all right now anyway, that price isn't really relevant, because we just, like, the cost of everything goes up. And given that we would like to still stick with the touchscreen capability, we're looking at projecting a year out, as well as going with the touchscreen version when we do get around to potentially buying more again. That if we, were we to stay 1-to-1 at that time, which is not the current proposal, that would look like a little over $500,000 every year to replenish. So over the course of 4 years, that equals that dollar amount. By doing the 3 classes per cart for those kids in elementary, that reduces that down to $278 if we do the 1-to-3. And so every year that saves you a little over $250,000 by doing that way. But again, not relevant for next year, just giving you a little longer term view. But the intention is, as I said before, I'll say it one more time, is as we get towards kind of middle of the school year and get towards the spring, we will see where we're at with our fleet and how our Frankensteining is doing and where, what our capabilities are to persist forward. And maybe that changes the number we would need to buy as well. But that's our current proposal. And I am happy to take questions before you have any sort of motion.
Sure. I'd like to ask, how much does the accidental drop protection add to the price? Do you know how big a portion of that is?
Yeah, please.
Depending on the vendor that we go with, it's about $90 or $100 to add the accidental damage protection.
The thing I'm looking at there is maybe that's something we ought to look at doing, because it's about 25% of the cost. But the repair rate that we're seeing is anywhere from 4 to 7% of the machines that we're using. And then regarding the pricing, it might be a little high too. I've bought a few recently. I use them for displays. I was just looking through stuff, and they're in the $150 to $200 range with those specs. So it may be something we want to consider. Where
Yeah,
the
damages, like those major repairs.
Yeah.
A screen is anywhere from like $80 to $150 a piece.
Yeah.
And if we have, and most of the damages that we have, it's not just one single thing that's broken on them. So we have to repair a screen, we have to repair 2 boards. Sometimes the battery goes out, things like that. And so it's not just a single thing that's being repaired.
There's some labor costs involved too.
Yeah, there can be for sure.
My point being, if we just kick that coverage, we save 25%, and we just buy a new one, throw it in the gutter and buy another one. We would save money.
Potentially, I suppose.
Just with my quick.
Perhaps I'm misunderstanding. The $20 that are on here for potential for repair fees and the $400 for the loss, we're holding the parents accountable for that, right? We're making them pay that, correct?
I would not say we are always making them pay that, but that is what that is referring to is the cost of a damage or
we're not necessarily eating 100% of that. We're passing that through. I mean, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, Jeff, what you're saying. Because I was thinking that, well, if we're getting the money from the parents,
No, it's, what I'm getting at is because of the scale of which we're using them, 12,000 units, but we're only repairing 800. And if we were to simply throw those away instead of fixing them, that represents anywhere from 4 to 7%. That's 500 to 800, depending on what you can repair. I don't want to get too far into that, but if 25% of the cost is in the warranty, but we're not using that much, then it doesn't make sense to buy the warranty.
Perhaps this is a great conversation for when we do purchases the next time, which we're not doing next year.
Which we're not doing, so.
Nope.
Look at it. Anyway, moving on.
I have a question about the carts. Just because I don't remember what every site looks like that have trailers. Do they have the capability, do they have ramps to get those mobile carts up there?
Yeah. Yep, we have ramps.
And then I assume because it would be, we'll have extra carts, so we don't need to buy any carts.
Correct. Yeah, we're currently doing just fine on carts.
And then if a classroom, would be over 30, you'd have spares or whatever that teachers could still use, I assume.
From another cart, probably. And I mean, if classes exceeded 30, then we would definitely relook at that and, make sure that there are extra spares, in the front office and things like that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure they have what they need. And then during testing, since it'll have to be scheduled a little bit differently, do we have enough in case, a bunch break or something
Yeah.
that it won't affect testing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a few years since we've had to do it, but for those who've been principals for at least just a few years or more, or even for people who were teachers before, like we only got one-to-one just a few years back, and so that was what we were doing before, was staggering that throughout, and all of the classes would get all their devices to whatever, 3rd and 4th grade, and then 3rd and 4th grade would do their stuff for the day and test, and then everything goes back, and then the next day they do 5th. And also keeping in mind that your elementary schools, as far as state required testing, that's only 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But for MAP testing, the benchmark testing, that would happen for every grade level 3 times a year. So that's really going to be when it's more of a hassle. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th, not so big a deal. But when you have to do K-5 all at the same time, that's going to just drag. It'll just drag it out a little bit, and it'll just make your days a little weirder. I don't want to underplay what that does to a day at a school where you have some people testing and you have to shut off bells, you have to be careful, you have to rearrange lunch schedules. There's a lot of things that have to go logistically, but we got great people who will figure those schedules out, and we'll make sure they have what they need.
All right, anything further from the board?
Ready, I'm going to jump on. I gave folks the opportunity to talk. First, thank you. One, I appreciate the accountability of holding parents accountable. So the more we can do that, the better, I think. So I appreciate that. Second, I also appreciate RJ, you and your team analyzing what you have, looking into creative options and seeing what can be used there, and understanding that's also going to impact your guys' workload. So I appreciate that as well. In a previous document, we had seen responses back from administrators, and this was not the preferred outcome, but I also appreciate that them saying that while it would create a logistical issue, that they would make it work. My biggest concern right now is hopefully not speaking this into existence, but the ramp up required if another pandemic hits. If we were to go to a 1-to-2 ratio, and I have my numbers somewhat accurate, it would still result in savings of nearly $100,000 a year, which is about $60,000 less than the current proposal. And if we needed to do a ramp up with the numbers that we have now, I think it'd be close to $440,000 to purchase back up to 1-to-1. If we spread that $440,000 over the $60,000 difference, it'd be about a 7-year return on cost. So I guess we would gamble in the next 7 years we don't have another pandemic. I'd love to see another 700 years without a pandemic, but just something that's causing me concern. As always, I appreciate your analysis and the fact that you are in this position and we've hired you for this position to make these decisions. Those are just thoughts that I have in my head right now.
Thanks.
I just want to ask, are we limited in our vendors for the buying of the Chromebooks? Like, do we have to go with one versus the other, just as Jeff was talking about? I know we're not buying next year, but just for the sake of folks understanding, I know IT likes to be very mysterious. I know my IT guy likes to do that too as well. So, but are we limited?
Not necessarily. The estimates that I got were from 4 vendors.
Okay.
So we'll kind of assess, and we'll try test out the devices before we make a purchase and see if they're going to work for us as far as repairability and things like that, and see where we can save.
Well, I don't know, just like Jeff said, it's like the scale of it, right, that we've got to do. So I understand that. So it's not like if you go on Amazon, it might probably limit you to like 8 or something, or 6. So it's not really gonna. But even then, trying to figure out where that. So I was just wondering if we did have like some limitation. So, anyways, I appreciate it.
Probably only limited to how many any vendor can supply at any given time. So in the past, where we were buying 2,500 or 2,000 at a time, yeah, if they don't have that many available, then that's not really a viable option for a vendor. And if you can't get the coverage through them, if that's something we want to do, is have the coverage. And yeah, something when I was talking about this before, I did fail to mention, so RJ brought it up, is we looked at 4 vendors, and that $440,000 470, was that the number? That was an average of what the four vendors. So that wasn't one vendor who said it's 470. It was four different averaged out. That's what the market is showing for us to buy those from vendors that we typically work with.
Is it worth looking into getting more buying power, like with another district or several districts, if you're all going to buy a Chromebook?
Possibly.
Yeah, we can
I
do
mean,
that.
that might be worth looking into, is the
Yeah,
other
we-
districts that are, smaller
CJ,
like us.
the new organization entity that was created that our previous state superintendent is now heading,
Oh, yeah.
is that functional
I
yet?
forget what it's called. No, it's not fun. It's not, it hasn't stood up yet. No, but they're working on it.
That, just to Susan's point, that would again be one of those things that perhaps we could get that power of the purse.
Yeah, there are other entities too, like a Sourcewell is another option. There are people who do find that buying power. Often what we've done in Nevada is if you have a big district like a Clark or a Washoe doing a purchase, sometimes you can kind of piggyback on their RFPs or whatever you're going to be doing for finding. So there's an opportunity to potentially do that there as well for down the road.
I have a quick question. I was looking at the devices reported missing or lost. That's 134 to date just this year. That amounts to, if you times that by the 470 replacement, almost $63,000. These aren't equipped with anything that you can track where they're at. And if not, is there some kind of software that could be installed so that we can find them when they're lost?
It's not always just that they're lost or missing. Sometimes they get damaged or they're like intentionally damaged, which is something that's not covered by our warranty. So if it's intentionally damaged, we've had devices that are thrown out a window while they're driving down the highway. We've had devices returned to us that are covered in vomit, things like that. So it's kind of a broad thing. I mean, we can track things to an extent, but any of our devices that get onto the internet, they get locked out actually. So they're unusable, and we can try to track them down, but it's probably easier said than done.
So I think it's just a difference in how these are phrased, but this 134 times the 400 is exactly the 53.6. So I think this dollar amount is that 134.
Okay.
All right, Board, how would we like to proceed regarding the Chromebook ratios?
I'll make a motion. I move that we approve the Chromebook allocation model and transitioning from one-to-one to shared classroom sets.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, moving on to the budget, 4.08, receipt, review, and approval of a tentative budget for fiscal year 26-27 school year for possible action. Mrs. Talke, welcome. No, go right ahead.
You might want to by the time I get my questions, so I think sitting down would be great. Sorry, that was a little more ominous than what I meant it to be.
Should we take 5? We're at the 2-hour mark. I've got a suggestion. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute recess, and we will start here. I've got 7:33 on my clock. Let's just make it 7:40. That's 7 minutes. All right, I'll go ahead and call this meeting back to order. We are on 4.08, receipt, review, and approval of a tentative budget. Mrs. Stahlke.
Okay. So this is just the tentative budget, which is technically kind of a draft before our final budget. You guys will approve the final budget at the May 19th meeting. This is just a formality that the district has always done where we present the tentative. You can review it. We submit it to the Department of Taxation. It's due by April 15th, where they will do a full review of it and send it back to us before May with any corrections that we need to make. Here's just the budget process timeline. As I said, the tentative budget is due to taxation April 15th. The original budget, we have to have a meeting between, or it's due, original budget is due between the third Monday in May, the meeting must be taking place between the third and last day in May, and then we will be presenting it May 19th. Our fiscal year starts July 1st, ends June 30th. Our December budget augment is due by December 31st, and this is when we're actually able to finalize all of our revenue, our beginning fund balances, our ending fund balances from the previous year. So the beginning year of the budget is always pretty much just an estimate until we get those audited financials, which is completed in October. So Terry will be presenting that then. And then we have one opportunity, it isn't mandatory, but we are able to augment our budget one more time before June 30th. So if we decide that we had additional revenue sources or revenue losses and we need to make adjustments, then we're able to change those resources and file it again with taxation.
That would be an augment of the formal budget that we submit May 19th if we so needed?
So the final augmented budget would be for whatever fiscal year you're in. So right now we're in FY26. We already did the December augment based on our audit. We could augment one more time before the end of the fiscal year.
Understood. So it's relating to the previous year, not the one we're looking at now.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
This is our general fund 5-year historical comparison. I went back to FY22. As you can see, the past 3 years, our revenues have been pretty much flat. We did have that increase where with the last legislative session before that, where they had the influx of funding. For FY26, I do want to note that the expenses here are based what our augmented budget is. I do foresee right now that they will be increasing as we've only made about close to $5 million in cuts for FY26. As I mentioned before, it's very difficult to make mid-year cuts, so we most likely will be hitting our ending fund balance. For FY27, our projected revenues are $122 million. Our current budgeted expenses, not including the fund balance, are $115 million.
Cassie, I apologize. You indicated that you think that it is going to hit our ending fund balance.
Right now, if you were to look at our ending fund balance in the general fund, we've received about $81 million in revenue, and we've spent close to $81 million in expenses. And we currently owe the SPED fund right now $5 million, which will continue to increase as the year goes on because we have to make that transfer out. Also, we'll owe our food service fund, and then we have the deficit in our health insurance fund.
And that will then reduce, of course, the beginning fund balance for FY27.
Correct.
But we won't see that
until our audit
in October.
Correct. Yes, we'll know, but technically we won't have any method to be reporting that to taxation until our audit is complete.
Okay, thank you.
Whoops. This is just a breakdown of our general fund expenses. Right now, 72% is budgeted as personnel. Other costs include professional service utilities. I want to make note, though, even though 72% is just out of the general fund, we transfer about $12.5 million to other funds, and those funds do include salaries, personnel as well. Salaries and benefits are around 87.3 million. Our transfer to other funds is 12.5. Our other costs is 15.6. And then our ending fund balance that we have budgeted for FY27 is 5.6 million.
Cassie, the transfers to the other funds are not optional, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we don't transfer to those other funds, the other funds will go deficit as well. So a part of the pupil-centered funding plan is that we do have to make a transfer because half the revenues go into the general fund, and then we're required to transfer those back to the SPED fund. We also supplement the SPED fund as well. And then if our insurance fund or any other funds go deficit, which they have been, then we've been supplementing those. And like I've said and Terry said before, and this all depends just on our cash liquidity as well. So for FY26, our per pupil adjusted base formula, we received $11,678. For FY27, we're receiving $11,745. We're basing an enrollment of 8,495 students. I did an enrollment trend analysis and we've been losing around 300 students every year. I actually was a little bit more conservative with this number. So I hope that we aren't having to send back amounts throughout the Troupe. As we've said before, we had an increase of $87 per student, but that's not enough to keep up with inflation, insurance, and the merit increases that we have. And then if we were to go back and look, we haven't had our third audited Troupe yet, but on the second quarter Troupe, we had 8,956 students, and at the same time the previous year we had 9,284. So to the general fund FY27, we reduced expenditures by 15 million when we compare it to the FY25 actuals. If you've looked at the budget and saw the FY26 estimate, those were based on what I had to reduce to balance the budget and still include an ending fund balance because of the Nevada Administrative Code that we're not allowed to use the ending fund balance as a resource unless it's for a capital improvement. So those reductions were throughout multiple functions. To meet this, we've been taking the actions that Superintendent Anderson talked about today. As enrollment's been decreasing, we've been cutting positions through attrition and through the class size evaluations. We are looking at different changes to our insurance policy. We've done the discontinuation of the textbook adoption. If you're looking, I had the budget done before I knew about the Chromebook. So right now, if you're looking within Program 100, Function 1000, it'll show that our supplies are about $2 million. That's including a Chromebook update. So that's additional savings that we'll be able to put somewhere else. We've had the central office support staff reduction. We're doing a review of all the web-based programs, and then we've already approved the sub rates. Looking at our English learner weighted fund, our allocation decreased by 191,000 to 2.6 million. 98% of this funding is allocated towards positions. Currently, I have it budgeted for a 10% ending fund balance. I mentioned before in the budget workshop how our weighted funds, we are one of the few states that don't have a stacking mechanism for these funds. So if a student qualifies as a SPED student or another classification, whichever classification receives the higher weight, that's the money that will follow that student. So if they're an EL student and an at-risk student, they don't receive the funding for both of those. They just receive whatever higher weight. So we constantly see fluctuations between EL and our at-risk students. Our at-risk weighted funding allocation increased by 425,994, and it's at $1.9 million. 51% of this is allocated to positions. To save the general fund, I've also moved communities and schools to the at-risk. And then we have the Cook Center, JAG, and we've made a little bit of an ending fund balance that's higher. It's about 16%, 16 to 19% right now, just in case we need it as we determine how the rest of this year ends, because it's a little bit more, it's more flexible to shift items to at-risk and these weighted funds, so. SB 231, if you're looking at the budget, it's remained the same. We get the same allocation based on the first legislative session that this was approved. This is the salary incentives that our education personnel and our teachers receive. We are currently in the fourth year, so the second year within this biennium is FY27. This falls into our auxiliary funding, and we've just been budgeting it the same way. I am going to be reaching out to the state as everybody's seen enrollment declines and most likely staffing declines as well. We budgeted a flat amount per employee, so trying to determine if we're able to make any adjustments to that as our staffing situation changes. Special education. This is one of our most complex funds. We receive state special education funding, so we're getting 5.4 million there. And then we also have the local special education funding, and this is 6.8 million that we receive. The 6.8 is actually deposited into our general fund, and then we transfer that out later at the end of the year. Our total expenditures are budgeted at 4.2 million. So the general fund is budgeted to transfer about an additional $2 million to supplement the fund. We had an increase of about $300,000 just due to the merit increases within everybody's contracts. We have been going through the multiple personnel and working with each school site because I've noticed that people were being coded to different accounts. So since we do get reimbursed by our special education, that's determined by how much we spend the previous 2 years. I've been trying to ensure that our actual expenditures match what we're doing in just within the district. So we're getting funded adequately and correctly. And then about 90% of the fund is personnel.
I'm just going to jump in real quick as a reminder, special education, not exactly the same as the way transportation is funded, but special education is done on a rolling basis, and it usually lags behind by 2 years. And so we're paying now for things, or they're funding us now for a couple of years ago. So if needs go up, we just have to sustain that until the state funding mechanism catches up to it, which is, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's challenging.
So we fill out kind of a complex report every year. It's now due the first Friday of the 5-day working week in January. And it's called the NRS 387 report, where we will show every expenditure and revenue source that we receive for every fund, and it's broke out by every object, function, program, broken down by every component of the chart of accounts. And then we also report on our personnel and our students. And then that is what is used within each year to help determine the funding formula, as well goes to the next legislative session for determinations. So if we're turning in last year after the audit what we actually spent in FY25, they will not make that determination because it's not due in January until the next fiscal cycle. Our insurance fund, the total cost is about 25 million. That's what's being budgeted. We did have the premium increases, which have helped this year, but the increase in costs and expenses are going to bring us back to a deficit of about 7.9. Our deficit for the end of FY25 was 7 million of negative ending fund balance. As of right now, it's to a -5, so I've been able to pay back about $2 million, but with the increased costs, it's going to continue to decline if we keep premiums or don't make any other changes to the policy. The district does cover employees, their full premium, and then the district subsidizes a portion of the dependent premiums. And you will see that there's changes. So if you're looking at certain items within the budget and you're seeing that the insurance cost has gone up, it's because instead of in the past where funds had been transferred into that fund whenever it was needed, we're actually budgeting the true cost of the policy.
And Cassie, in regards to that, because that's ending up as a deficit, those funds need to be transferred in from the general fund anyways.
Correct.
Okay, I'll hold that question until later. Thank you.
You can ask that question now, 'cause that's.
Great. Oh, perfect. All right. Well, no, you know what? Actually, I'm going to let everybody else answer their questions because y'all have seen my list, so.
All right, board, any questions? You might be up.
I got 2 laptops ready, so, no, just kidding. Okay, then, Mr. Chair, if I may. Here we go. Beginning fund balance of 5.6 million, ending fund balance of 5.6 million. We're budgeting a net zero change through the year.
That is the goal. And the beginning balance is currently matching what our budgeted ending fund balance is for FY25. So when we get the audited financials, if we find out that we ate our whole fund balance, that will then shift our budget in December, and we'll have to make cuts to expenditures.
Okay. When we make cuts to expenditures in December, which would then be the fiscal 27 current budget.
Correct.
If we're not allowed to use the ending fund balance to balance, and we're not allowed to declare a fiscal emergency because we didn't use the ending fund balance, where will our cuts come from?
So I've budgeted $1 million in contingency. There's a portion there. We have an additional $800,000 and $900,000 for the Chromebooks, so there's about $2 million there. If they continue to decrease, we most likely will have to start looking at staffing evaluations and any other funding that we possibly can. But at this point, honestly, we've cut. We're running thin on what we can cut.
And if I recall correctly, we're at about a $7.6 million deficit fund in our insurance. So with the 5.6 opening, the $1 million that IT just found, thank you, IT, the $1 million contingency, we've erased all of that already. So we're really starting at zero, but we're not allowed to budget zero.
Correct.
And we're not allowed to start negotiations until we're well below zero in October of this upcoming year. Okay, just making sure I'm understanding this correct. Okay, thank you. I think most of these are things that you and I had visited on, and so I appreciate the time on that. What is the reality? What would happen? Would the world stop spinning if we said, no, we're not going to approve this budget because it's not real? And that's nothing against you. You've done the best you can under the circumstances you have. But what happens if we say, no, this is fake? It's crazy numbers.
Well, it's due to taxation on the 15th, and technically there's no NRS or NAC that says you have to approve the tentative budget.
Okay.
So I could still technically turn it in. And then when it comes to the final budget, if you don't approve it, then I would take that to taxation, and they most likely would want to have a meeting with us. So
great. When we have that meeting, is it going to be here, or are we going to have to drive down there and spend money?
I don't want to really be a part of that meeting.
Okay. No, I appreciate, I know this is a serious thing, and I know I'm kind of making light of it. It's just, I'm going to use the term ridiculous again.
My word was stupid.
Okay, yeah, stupidly ridiculous. And again, this isn't you and your team. I appreciate what you've done. You have to do these things under the state law.
Unfortunately, we have limitations on what we can do.
Yes. Okay. Then, as I think I've looked through most of these, and these transfers, we can't do transfers back and forth between the funds because, of course, they're restricted, and that's not allowed under NRS to be able to go from there. I am concerned on the Chartwell's side of things. Again, not to call out Chartwell's, but I should say the food service fund.
I am as well.
That one is concerning. If they can make those numbers work, great. But I see in reality probably another $250,000 or more in there that we're going to have to adjust from.
That was 300,000-ish recently, right? This past year?
That we redo,
Or that we were behind on food service? Or that we had to,
oh, that was within I think the 300,000 is within the agreement they're saying that's the cap of how much we would have to contribute if. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna be past that. So I believe that the projections were a little bit higher on the revenues that they were expecting. And then with decreased enrollment and low participation and just the cost of running the food service program, the revenues aren't meeting the expenditures, so not breaking even.
Cassie, please remind me when the senior center was assisting the Elko Institute of Academic Achievement, we were restricted in what we could charge students for lunch.
Correct. The
Under
Nevada
the USDA and the Nevada
Yep.
Department of Agriculture, correct?
Yep, correct.
So we can't say, great, we're increasing costs of meals to make up that deficit.
Correct, yeah.
Because again, the state is restricting us.
The program's highly restricted as well.
Great. And I guess the federal level. So again, that stupidly ridiculous thing. Okay. Then I guess my next question is, since you've gotten all those other things, if we submit this, regardless, when you submit this, whether we approve or not, and it goes to taxation, if they make changes, are you allowed to tell us those changes prior to the May meeting? So are we going to have time?
I don't bring it back until I have approval from taxation. So I will continue to make the changes with the Department of Taxation until they feel that it's finalized and ready for final review. And that's when I'll bring it to you again. And that will be May 19th. So that one will have any changes in it that the taxation has recommended.
And it's doubtful that taxation is going to recommend having a zero end fund balance, even though that's reality.
I could ask if you'd like.
Great.
But
If
I think it's
you know what?
doubtful.
If you would humor me and ask that, I would appreciate that. If the Department of Taxation says, no, we want you to put out fake numbers, then that's on them, I guess.
Okay.
I'd love that. If you could get that in writing, yes, we want you to put out fake numbers. Think you can get that from Department of Taxation?
I'll do my best.
Perfect. You are awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think net zero in this year is a reality, and this is nothing on you or the district that we can do. This is really the state being ridiculous. So I'm going to waive the rest of my questions because it doesn't do any good. So, Mr. Chair, thank you for the time. And Ms. Dahlke, thank you. I appreciate your efforts in this. This is not an easy task. And everybody, all the directors and the administrators and stuff that went into this as well. Having worked budgets, something of this magnitude is pretty amazing. So thank you.
You're welcome.
all right, I have a couple comments, but I will go ahead and open it up to the rest of the board first. Anybody has anything?
I was just gonna say that I am on the same page as Matt here. I came into Cassie's office today with 6 pages of questions. And really quickly, 6 pages of questions were answered because things just didn't make sense in the budget, and that's why. It's because she couldn't use that ending fund balance and had to reduce costs from the 2026 year in order to keep that ending fund balance in there. So anyways, yeah, until something changes there, there's nothing really that can help with my 6 pages of questions.
Could I just ask, and this just a general question I'm throwing out there, like the rising fuel costs, like are you putting in those kind of things when
Yeah, we're doing an increase in utilities.
Just double.
Yep, we've already received notification from NB Energy about tariffs and the utility increases, so.
And what would happen with the food service if, I don't know, if we said something along the lines of, we're not like they have to help us meet a budget with that?
I believe within the contract that we agreed upon that it does mention the $300,000 cap, but there's also fine print that, and the only way that you would go above or be able to stay within that is if anything in their projection hasn't changed. So obviously their projections have changed, so that really doesn't hold true. That's pretty much the 300,000 is just like a margin of error rate.
I'll go ahead and just jump in with my comments here, folks. This is more geared towards the public because the budget has been a hot button issue, obviously, for the last few months especially. But this is the process. This is where it starts. This is the numbers. They're posted right here publicly in the agenda. Anybody can go and look at this. It's a nice, long, what is it, 122 pages of numbers that we have to come up with. So if you have any questions or want to know where something is, this is the time to look at it. And then when we have this budget that we're going to be adopting May 19th, you have that time between now and then, April 7th to May 19th, to make yourself heard, to if you use the public, have priorities or things you want to see, now's the time to tell us. But yeah, look forward to going through this process. I'm sure we're all going to be looking at it very closely, and hopefully everything will work out, where we can start increasing. But I did appreciate the fact of the estimates you made of where our current enrollment was 9,138, but we're basing this at 8,493. 650 students, give or take.
I think the
Less.
9,100, I think I was talking, I don't remember.
I pulled that number from earlier today, what our current.
Yeah, those reports are different, the ones
Yeah.
that Josh pulls compared to what we actually get funded on. It includes additional students.
I just wanted to show out there, people, that we are looking at declining enrollment possibly, and that is part of this presentation, so. Anything further from the board? How would you like to proceed?
Sorry. One more thing with the vendors at the very end, just to change those.
We found some errors on there. I think some of my lines weren't lined up when I did my copy and paste, so I do need to make changes on the contract.
But thank you for your work. And thank you, board, for the questions that answered some of mine, so.
If there's nothing further from the board, I'm happy to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the tentative budget in 4.08.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and second. Any further discussion?
I appreciate you making those motions because I don't want this to drag on forever. Mrs. Stockley, I will be voting against this motion, not because of anything you've done, but because these are fake numbers. And since it doesn't cost us anything to reject this, since you're going to have to submit it either way, just want to make sure you knew that my no vote was nothing against you or your team, or the district for that matter.
Thank you. Anything further? All right, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve the tentative budget for fiscal year 26-27. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
Is it 2? Yeah. Okay. Chair votes aye, and motion carries. Moving to 4.09, review, discussion, and possible action regarding continuation of board services with balanced governance solutions for possible action. And I'll be presenting this item. Again, this was just brought up to see where you guys wanted to go with this, based on that it is an expenditure going out, and that's something we had previously agreed to do. So I will open that up for discussion.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think we entered into this with the understanding, this agreement with the understanding this was going to benefit the board currently sitting, but we also had the vision for the future. And to Dr. Byers's comments earlier, The amount that has been invested in the board, I don't think is exorbitant. And the last remaining piece of this is the superintendent's evaluation. I think us having that ability to see how to perform this in the most efficient, effective manner is going to be important. And it gives us the ability to set the tone and set the process for literally a generation of boards if we do this right. I think this is beneficial for the community, for the county, for the future, and I see no reason why we should not continue to pursue the balanced governance solution outcome.
Board, anything further?
Oh, yeah, I would just piggyback on that. I mean, I gave you guys a sheet here. Granted, even if they're whatever numbers, or you can't add enough to us, even if we did 1%, we're less than 1% that we spend at the board. So continuing it is important. We wanted a finished product, and that's what we need. So by not spending it, we're just, I don't want to say wasting, but half of it seems to be because we won't have the product in front of us. So I would also like to add that I believe when we entered into this agreement, it was the implication was that we were going to finish this product as well. And so on a technicality, we can have this conversation backing out of it. And so I think that would serve towards the integrity if we back out of this as well. So just based on the sheer facts of we're not spending a ton of money on the board, it's got future potential, and we already made the agreement. I wouldn't want to have a technicality cause future issues too. So anyways.
I think Dr. Ellsbury has been very good at working around our budget issues. And I also believe that we need to finish what we started, and that then we would truly have wasted our money if we don't follow through and finish out this project.
I agree with everyone. I feel like this is what we need, especially what's going on right now. We need to learn, learn is the word, but we need to have a good evaluation for the superintendent and be more clear for everyone in understanding.
Any further discussion?
So maybe Hillary could talk to us about this, but we asked Dr. Ellsbury if there were different ways that we could save money on the superintendent evaluation portion. And I believe he came back with some figures. And so if Hillary could go over those, because I also believe that it's, like I said in the last meeting, we approve the budget as a board, we create policy as a board, and we evaluate the superintendent. And those are the three areas where our board really has any kind of power. And so making sure we're doing that in the right ways, I think, is really crucial to being a good board and doing our job the way that we should. Did you want me to ask a specific question?
I was just waiting to see if Jeff had anything to add before I started.
Or Jeff?
No,
Yeah,
go right
either
ahead.
way.
No.
So prior to this fiscal year, the board entered a contract with Balanced Governance Solutions to cover 3 items, and those were the board evaluation, the superintendent evaluation, and the board policy and handbook. Plus, there was a 4th option that was added for individual consultancy between the superintendent and the board president with Dr. Ellsbury as needed. As of today, the board has completed the board evaluation and the board policy and handbook as far as the services that Dr. Ellsbury has provided to us and is planning to provide to us. So the item that's remaining is the superintendent evaluation. As the contract was written originally, the cost of the superintendent evaluation equates to approximately $20,000. Dr. Alsbury has heard our concerns related to the budget and offered to conduct that meeting via Zoom for a reduced total of $16,000. He also offered further solutions by removing at the evaluation mid-year work session with the board. He can reduce the cost by $2,000, which would bring us to $14,000. He could also remove his review of the superintendent report and simply deliver the finished report to the board, which would save an additional $5,000. So to do everything virtually and remove those two items, that would bring the cost down to a total of $9,000. Additionally, to this point, we've used very, very little of the consulting costs, if any, and he offered to reduce his hourly rate from $400 an hour to $250 an hour if we needed to access those services.
Okay, after looking through that, my opinion is that we would go to the Zoom option and then also remove the superintendent report and have him just simply deliver the finished report to the board to save that 5,000 off of the 16. So then we'd be at 11. I prefer to have that evaluation mid-year check work session just to kind of make sure that we're working that process like we're supposed to and have some input and some guidance as we do that from him.
I agree on the Zoom, especially since I earlier this meeting specifically requested that our own internal State of Nevada Association of School Boards conduct Zoom. So I think that should go without saying that we can do that without Zoom, much as I appreciate the presence of Dr. Ellsbury. However, I would say we keep the review of the superintendent report only because we're still trying to figure this out ourselves. If I think we were in a second year of this and we had more familiarity with that, I think that'd be good. I just don't know what that report would look like and what that report would entail. So because of that, I'm leery on removing that superintendent report.
Any other thoughts? Any motions?
All righty, then I'm going to throw something out there. I don't know if the way this was written, if this is for, I guess it's for approval. So I'm going to move that we approve continuation of board services with balanced governance solutions with the request that contracted work sessions be conducted via Zoom to reduce the total amount by $4,000 for a total of $16,000.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor.
I second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
I just will, on that number 2, remove my reviewing the superintendent report and simply delivering the finished report to the board. That's what I wished he was here to kind of explain exactly what that is. He did go over that with us. I thought he said he would kind of clean up the, anyway, Hillary, did he talk to you about that at all, what that entails?
I did ask one follow-up question regarding that. My understanding is that he would review the report from the board and from CJ and make kind of some cleanup language to make that more streamlined for us, and make sure it adheres to the things that he's been teaching you all in his work sessions.
So that's why I think we could save $5,000 on that. If it's just cleaning up the language, and I say we save that money. I think it can just come through exactly how we state it.
I recognize the cleanup language. It's the making sure I think that his report back to us gives us that other opportunity for improvement of not just the language, but of him saying, here's where I've given you pointers and here's where I've advised and here's where on your report that didn't make that. So if you want to do what I was suggesting and what I'm guiding on, this is a different way of doing that. So I just see that as a learning opportunity. But yeah, the cleanup of language certainly is not worth $5,000. It's that learning aspect and that continuation that I'm looking at that I think is valuable.
So my suggestion then would be, could Jeff, as board president, utilize the $250 an hour as a consultation fee to work with him and just to kind of bounce those questions and ideas off of him and kind of see where we sit with how our evaluation went. And kind of tips for next time and guidance for next time type thing.
Yeah. We do have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion on that? The motion is to approve going forward with the work, but making it by Zoom for a total cost of $16,000. Go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Is it 2? Hey, chair's going to vote aye. That motion will carry. All right, we will move on. And thank you guys for all your input on that. I appreciate it. That wasn't a decision that I wanted to make on my own. I wanted to bring it to the board, and I believe we all have stake in that. So thank you. Now moving to item 5.01, the superintendent's report.
All right, just some things to share. There have only been so many school days since our last board meeting. We had spring break, so just wanted to share some good things that have occurred since then. Make sure you're aware, you and the public, I suppose, is that at the Northeastern Nevada Museum, they'll be hosting our Elko County School District Student Art Exhibit and juried, not sure I've used that word before, juried art show from now until May 3rd in the Barrick Gallery upstairs in the museum. In this art show, selected artists in grades K through 12 across our district have artwork chosen for the show, and judging for grades 7 and 8 and 9 through 12 will take place this week with results to be announced. Am I good to keep going on this? All right. Elko High School CNA program, which is, I believe, Certified Nurses Assistant. Yeah, I got that one right. All 10 students in the CNA program at Elko High School passed their written and skills exam for the Nevada Board of Nursing for the first time. They had 100%. Yeah, it's great. So thank you so much to our instructor, Janelle Fredrickson, to NNRH, and to the Highland Manor for the various ways they support our students and the program to have 100% passing rate. The 10 students are now eligible to apply for their nursing assistant credentials with the Nevada Board of Nursing and can enter employment in the healthcare industry. It's great. CTE is awesome. I don't know if you knew that or not, Josh, but CTE is great.
The future.
That's the future.
One of those is an actual employee of mine. I'm very
that's
proud of Miss Victoria.
Awesome.
So.
She's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, other good news. Spring Creek FCCLA had 20 students compete, and that was in the state competition for FCCLA, and 14 of them qualified for nationals this year. And I'm gonna read through a bunch of names. So hang in there, and also, apologies. I feel like I do a pretty good job with names, but I'm likely to mess some up. So, forgive me. First place high gold in AI integration, level 3 is Mason Morris. First place high gold in food innovations, level 3, Bryce Ferris and Jaden Ratazzi. First place high gold for national programs in action facts, level 3 is Brinley Leduc, Addison Savage, and Dylan Colley. First place high gold in leadership, level 2, Vivian Morrison. First place high gold in sustainability, level 2, Aaron Gillespie. First place high gold, teach and train, level 2, Raylan Kempf. First place high gold, focus on children, level 2, Jimena Candelas and Dallas Gonzalez. Those are all They were all highlighted yellow, so I'm going to interpret that to mean those were the students who qualified for nationals. Other students who achieved: high silver teach and train level 2 Miranda Scott, high silver repurpose redesign level 2 Sydney Anderson and Mackenzie Miller, silver for AI integration level 3 Cheyenne Wilcox, silver for interpersonal communication level 3 Emma Storla and Kelsey Beer, silver for professional presentation level 2 Taylor Douglas and Lydia Johnson, and bronze fashion design level 2 Holly McLeod. So those are our excellent FCCLA students from Spring Creek High School. Carlin's FCCLA, Mrs. Kinney, was nominated jointly by the Carlin and Spring Creek chapter presidents and awarded the Nevada Spirit of Advising Award. The Spirit of Advising Award recognizes chapter advisors who are constantly faithful, often quietly working behind the scenes to ensure the success of their students, and she will receive official stage recognition with all the other states and an award at the National Leadership Conference for her over 10 years of dedicated service to FCCLA. Additionally, students at Carlin FCCLA, first place gold in personal finance, Emily McNamara. Level 3, first place gold career investigation, Mercedes Malone, level 3. They're going to nationals. Then also first place silver in parliamentary procedure, Azaria Gaylor, Alyssa Fladland, Seven Schlosser, JC Jensen, John Vicente, and Nalea Romero, level 2. Third place gold, professional presentations, Mercury Denton, level 3, and silver in public policy advocate, Tarian Marta, level 3. That list of names was harder than the other one. Also in FCCLA, but in West Wendover, I'm going to read it as it's stated. They absolutely dominated at state. They came home with 5 gold medals, 2 silver and 1 bronze, and 12 members qualified for nationals in Washington, D.C. this summer. Julia Peterson got gold first place in job interview. JV Covarrubias got gold third place in job interview. Lindsay Wallstrom, gold first place in fashion design. Nick Flores and Ivan Mendoza got gold first place in repurpose and redesign. Xavier Ruiz, Mary Scrouther, Brian Alvarado, and Cannon Carter all got gold in first place in parliamentary procedure. Oscar Chavez, Alan Childress, and Alexo Luna got gold in hospitality, tourism, and recreation. Derek Salazar got third place in fashion design, and Alexis Chaplin and Rosalind Maldonado got a bronze medal in fashion design. Congratulations to all those kids at West Wendover FCCLA.
I'll throw out too, I was going to wait till the end, but since we're talking about them, we're doing the annual FCCLA Day in Wendover. That'll be on the April 22nd. It's a Wednesday. It's the day after our next meeting, in fact. They'll have a bake sale from 5 to 8 p.m. and also we'll be donating the entire day's sales towards their trip to nationals. So
thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
Support those
excited for
kids.
that. It's been a fun one. We've been doing it for, I think this is the 4th year now.
That's great.
So, and speaking to Miss Blake, she said that this is probably her strongest group she's ever had this year. So they're real excited. So good luck at nationals.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations to all of our students who participated in the FCCLA competition, and good luck to them when they go to nationals. That is it. That is all I have for my superintendent's report today.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All right, item 6.01, a NASB update. Trustee Neal, do you have anything for us?
Just a couple things. This might make Cassie a little happier. The dues for school boards will be frozen, so there's no increase next year. So it'll be.
I was on that committee, by the way, too.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah. And then the other thing from the March meeting of note would be Dr. Nicolette and Catherine Whitaker participated in the National School Advocacy Institute in Washington, D.C. The highlights included engagement with Nevada's congressional delegation, key national education priorities, the importance of maintaining a student-centered focus, Nevada's statewide collaboration, and the value of national representation through NSBA. That's all I have.
Awesome. I'll add that myself and Dr. Byers are headed to the National School Board Association Conference, and I'm happy to say I'll be participating as a delegate for the state of Nevada with the association as the vice president, and real excited to looking at what we can do to help with funding, both on especially on this side on a federal level. I'm excited for some of the classes that the NEA puts on, and definitely coming back with a full report on that for you. I'm sure we both will. So that's all I've got on that. And we will move on to 6.02, board member comments and requests for future agenda items. Does anyone have anything?
Chair, if I may, I'm going to just add in real quick on the attendance review committee. I did miss one meeting. The most recent meeting, or the upcoming most recent meeting, has been postponed as we are asking the administrative folks, the secretarial, not the administrators, but the administrative assistants and so forth, for data coming back on truancies and absenteeism, et cetera. For everybody out there, the state does not accept that you've called somebody in, a student in, as an excused absence. You'd think that you'd think that the parent would know what they're doing, but apparently we don't. So if it's a medical reason and you get a doctor's note, it is then excused. But if you call in because your student has a fever and you don't want to get the rest of the school sick, that doesn't count. So just letting you all know that, not saying you need to go see a doctor for everything, but letting you know what that is. It doesn't count against, or it counts against us, I should say, from absenteeism. And for the board, there's not a defined policy of truancy. So at some point after another few meetings and what the committee says, we may need to look into a policy on what truancy is. There's kind of a general understanding, but there's not a single document. And so we're not seeing consistency across the schools and the sites. So just letting everybody know there, no timeline for when that could be 6 months. So just getting everybody a heads up.
From a student perspective, I've noticed that truancies get more punished than absences. So is there anything that could be implemented in order to, like, let's say, like, decrease the rate of absences and like maybe punish those absences slightly more?
If I may, Mr. Chair, that's kind of what we're looking at, is what's causing the absences, what are those factors that go into that, how much of it is normal life, how much of it is situations at home, and then from there, what is the truancy and why are the truancies happening? Generally, from my understanding of sitting through the meeting, the truancy is usually missing one or more periods in the class or in the day, but not the whole time, which oftentimes means that it's the student making that decision instead of a situation at home or a parent making that decision. And so that may be why truancy is getting punished more severely. But again, that would be something that as we continue down this process, we may need to create a policy so that we can better define that. But I appreciate that input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, on that committee also, from what you just mentioned, so are you looking at how it's coded through the school too?
I got to stop you there though, because we can't discuss it. It's not agendized.
Sorry.
So we can bring it in as a
Thank you.
further agenda item to have that discussion.
It's good. Thank you.
My apologies.
Nope.
Just want to make sure we're walking the straight and narrow regarding
No need to
open meeting law.
apologize.
I'll just jump in. So I took that Edunomics course through Georgetown University, and I continue to get emails and different information from them. I feel like there's lots of different articles and things that are really have a lot of useful information. And I have sent those to Hillary and CJ and asked that maybe they could just send them your way just as for information only. And it has a lot to do with budgets and what is happening all over the country right now. And so just a lot of useful information there. one thing that I have talked to Cassie about is that I feel like as a board, we should have like some more board work sessions around the budget. And so I'd like to maybe see, I don't know if we need to agendize that and have it put on the agenda, but I would like to see more board work sessions around the budget so that we can have a little bit more time to discuss budget things and kind of give some input and set priorities as a board before we get to this point where we're approving a tentative budget and then approving the final budget. And have that happen probably starting December, I would say, if the final augment is done in October. Did you say October? Or audit, sorry, is in October. So anyways, I think that's all for me.
I got that written down.
I just want to, sorry. is someone-
No, you go right
Okay.
ahead. Christina.
First of all, thank you to our student member. And then I attended the Spring Creek High School Success Summit, so thank you to Heather Steele for putting that together. It was nice to see so many families attending and interested in the different things that are available to their students as they enter Spring Creek High School. Teresa Dastrup was even there working, trying to get people involved in sports, so that was fun to see. I also went to the Instrumental Music Festival, so I heard Adobe Middle School and Elko High School. And that was enjoyable, and the students, I think, get a lot out of that. Jeff reminded me when we were talking about like mass purchasing for instance, Chromebooks. NASB has buy board, so I know I've given it to Cassie at one point, but that might be something, so I'll send the link out just so everyone has it. And Beth from Wells said to thank Cassie for getting a lawnmower to Wells, finding it in the budget, so she said to say thank you because she had to leave. And just thank you to everyone for all the work that you've done.
So I have 3 or 4 things. One was my proposal I'd sent for the travel kit after the last West Windover, where I had to sign off because it was just, there's too much background noise. Just trying to inquire on that. I had put together different microphones that travel really easy in the back of a backpack, and I don't know, it was like $1,000 or something like that. So if we could look into that, just so we can properly broadcast the meeting, and if not that, then let's just go right to Zoom, and you can do audio off of one thing, or line up all the Chromebooks and have them all connected. I mean, Zooms, I've been on Zooms that have 60 people on them, and I didn't get a headache afterwards, so I don't understand why we're still doing this, but, so I would love to see that. On top of that, I'd love to see us putting the agenda back on the board. Anybody sitting in here at home has to open up another browser to look at that, so it being plainly seen on there, whether it's pre-done as a presentation would be great, or if it's just opening PDFs, that would be fantastic. So I'd love to proposition that for the future again. I'm on the AB 519 committee, the Elko County School District Capital Projects Oversight Panel, which is what the county has called it. I have not received emails for the last 2 months. Ms. Hillary was kind enough to reach out through an email. I currently have a text in with Commissioner Carr, who is the current board president, so I'm trying to see what's going on. I had a family member that was gracious enough to tell me when the next meeting was, so hopefully I start to get some information on that, but I was cut off of that. Which I told you guys I did not go to the previous meeting because I was not informed of it, and it was Monday in the middle of the afternoon, which is one of my busiest times, so. My last one, earlier I chose some poor words to describe Mr. Salyer, who I cherish dearly. I had used some words describing some of his work. I think he is one of the most fantastic people when it comes to lawyer and legal, and so I just would like to apologize in that manner because I don't want it sitting out there for people to use against him. It was meant to be a a small joke, and it was not, did not come across that way. So I would like to make sure that's on the record. So other than that, I digress.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna talk about the fun stuff. I get to do that with S.T.A.R.S, visit schools and surprise our teachers. It's always fun. Thank you, Hillary, for all that work you do, and CJ. And it's just great to hear about all their talented students, all they're doing. And yeah, we're in this situation, but just hearing that, it gives us a purpose. That's why we're here, trying to work with all this. And thank you for all your hard work, all of us, all of you.
Thank you. Monica, did you have anything for us?
I would just like to express my gratitude and appreciation for all of you for having me here today. It's truly such an honor to be speaking in front of so many distinguished individuals, and I just feel so honored. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to echo the same. I'll keep mine short. Thanks to everybody that's put in the effort into these discussions, into these decisions we got to make for the public, coming, making, wonderful comments and just being here for staff, all of you, for the students that showed up. It's what makes it worth it. This job sometimes is not easy, but it is worth it. I will tell you that. It does have these moments of satisfaction to it that where maybe you feel like all this stuff stacked against you, but you're still trying to accomplish something. And I think we're clawing back a little by little here. So we'll get there. I'm confident in it. And just remind everybody, like I said before, the budget's out there now. Look at it. I'd hate to have you come back and complain in December that you didn't like something when it's sitting there right now with over a month for you to look at it before we have to send and finalize. So with that, I will move on to input from the public. We have one final period. Same rules apply. Is there any input from the public? Yes. Oh, yeah.
Sit, or do I need to stand?
You can, yeah, go ahead and have a seat.
It's late, right?
Sure. Same different. You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Please state your name for the record.
I am Holland Wines. I just want to thank all of you. I know that this is tough. All of this is tough. And some reform at some much higher levels, like you had stated earlier, would be really nice as well. I wanted to finish what I was saying about NNVA. In that survey, 11% of people said that they would consider NNVA as a homeschooling option. 34% said maybe, but the vast majority of them came back and said this would be a last resort. When I think about the worst education for a child K through 5, it looks like a kid sitting on a computer, the teacher not being able to engage, the mom thinking the teacher's got it all, and the kid falling through the cracks. For young children especially, education should be interactive, relational, and hands-on. A model that relies heavily on screen-based learning risks disengagement, reduced social development, and poorer outcomes. Expanding this program at the elementary level does not address the root issues and may, in fact, create new ones. I urge all of you to prioritize fixing foundational challenges rather than investing in solutions that don't align with the needs and concerns of this community. I hope our community is ready to work together. Our teachers need meaningful support. Our students deserve safe, focused, and effective learning environments. And once again, thank you all for all the work you guys do.
Thank you. Any further public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was going to